Chapter 118. He was no more than 5 feet tall, skinny as a stick, with a face as cold as a zombie's. He wore a black feathered robe and his body was shrouded in black mist. His hair was messy like a hedgehog's and his eyes were blood red, but his skin was eerily white. It must have been caused by living in a place without light for many years. The appearance of this person gave Ning Fan a strong sense of crisis, void fragmentation realm. He used the Min Luo fruit as the price and threatened Ning Fan's life. This old man didn't give Ning Fan any room to refuse and immediately stated his request. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with a cold light. He didn't like the feeling of being threatened, even if the other party was a void fragmentation old monster. Hundreds of thoughts ran through his mind. The old man in front of him didn't speak much, which meant that he was a loner. His eyes shone with a ferocious glint. He was probably the type of person who would capture someone the moment they met. Based on his personality, this kind of person should not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. Whatever he wanted him to do, he could just use his cultivation to suppress him. However, this person didn't capture Ning Fan and only threatened him. Was it because of the little girl or was there another reason? Ning Fan could faintly feel that the old man's eyes were filled with fear towards the earth-vein demonic flame, the black demon flame. That fear was hidden very deeply, but with Ning Fan's eyesight, he could still find some clues. Strange. Why would a void fragmentation old monster be afraid of a single type of earth-vein demonic fire? The black-robed old man was shrouded in a black mist that seemed to have the effect of shielding one's divine sense, preventing others from probing his cultivation. To avoid fragmentation old monster, this method was superfluous. Moreover, the chi of the black mist gave Ning Fan a sense of familiarity. Immediately, he recalled where he had seen this black mist before. The core of the Min Luo fruit had the same aura. The 10,000-year spirit herb formation in the little girl's brocade pouch also had this aura. With a slash of his sword sense, he immediately broke the black mist on the old man's body. Finally, he could see his cultivation base clearly. Sword cognition. The old man was slightly startled and kept his words to himself. After recovering from his surprise, his expression turned gloomy when he saw Ning Fan's understanding expression. You saw it. Yes, I saw it. Tell me, what do you need my help with? If you can pay me enough, maybe I will agree. Ning Fan revealed an inexplicable smile, but he was no longer as fearful of the old man as before. This old man was indeed a void fragmentation old monster, but he didn't come with his true body. Moreover, this old man had an innate fear of his black demon flame. Among the traces, Ning Fan discovered the chi that the old man leaked out. When his sword sense cut open the black mist, he discovered the old man's true identity. The old man was not a human, but a tree. An old tree that had become a spirit, a Min Luo tree. The one who came to this place was just a clone of the old man's roots. It had penetrated all the way from the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave to this place. It had the aura of a void fragmentation expert, but its magical force and ability were only at the spirit-severing realm. All of this seemed to be the special suppression of Dark Sparrow's grave. Demons of higher realm couldn't penetrate the soil layer of lower realm. The Ming Luo tree was an extremely strange tree. It couldn't be exposed to a trace of fire, otherwise, it would wither immediately. The old man's Ming Luo tree had turned into a spirit. If it was his true body, he might be able to withstand the earth-vein demonic flame with his magical strength. However, he was merely a spirit-severing clone. Facing Ning Fan's 5th-grade spirit fire, the black demon flame, he was afraid that it would wither before he could even touch it. In just a short period of time, Ning Fan had discovered the old man's weakness through various signs and dispelled his fear of the old man. If the old man was really a void fragmentation expert and made a request, perhaps Ning Fan wouldn't have a choice. However, since the old man had so many weaknesses, he would be a laughing stock if he was threatened by him. The old man's face was gloomy. His spirit sense had been locked on the little girl, worried that something might happen to her. Fortunately, Ning Fan didn't do anything to her and the old man was too lazy to show himself. However, after witnessing Ning Fan's concoction technique breaking through to the fifth revolution, an idea arose in his mind. He wanted to capture Ning Fan and make him the exclusive concoction master of the little girl in Dark Sparrow's grave. With the help of a fifth revolution concoction master, perhaps the void poison in the little girl's body could be cured. Given his void fragmentation cultivation base, he couldn't come to the fifth level due to the suppression of the Dark Sparrow's grave. Therefore, he could only send his tree root clone to capture Ning Fan. However, when the clone arrived, he found out that Ning Fan was holding a terrifying earth vein demonic flame. If it was his true body, he wouldn't be afraid of the fifth-grade demonic flame. Unfortunately, it was just a mere tree root clone. Due to the special physique of the Ming Luo tree, the clone would wither and perish as soon as the fire shone on it. Therefore, the old man dismissed the idea of capturing Ning Fan directly. Instead, he used the Ming Luo fruit as a lure and secretly released his aura to threaten Ning Fan's life. First, he wanted to force Ning Fan to agree to his request. After bringing Ning Fan to the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, everything would be under his control. At that time, it would be hard to say whether he would give Ning Fan the reward he deserved. As for Ning Fan, it would be impossible for him to leave the Dark Sparrow's grave. The old man's threat was actually filled with endless danger. If it was an ordinary person, he or she might have fallen into the old man's trap due to the fear of the void fragmentation aura. However, the void fragmentation experts that Ning Fan had seen included Bone Sovereign, Moksha Sovereign, Little Sable and Yunbushu. It wasn't that he hadn't seen void fragmentation experts before. He even had the inheritance of an immortal emperor. How could he be intimidated by the name of a void fragmentation expert? Ning Fan didn't panic. He could see the flaws in the old man's words and chi. At this moment, Ning Fan smiled without saying a word. He was looking at the old man. He wanted to hear what request the old man had for him. If the request wasn't difficult, he would be very willing to get a few Ming Luo fruits. However, if the old man wanted him to enter the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, it was impossible. It was impossible for the old man to threaten him with his life. "Grandpa, don't be angry. Brother Biscuit is a good person," the little girl said timidly. Only when he looked at the little girl did the old man reveal a trace of kindness in his eyes. "Bright Sparrow, you are still young. When you grow up, you will know that the human heart is sinister. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have come into contact with the human race no matter what." The old man's eyes met Ning Fan's smiling eyes. Not only was Ning Fan not angry after being threatened by him, he even smiled. Humans were really shrewd, despicable and shameless, they didn't even show their emotions on their faces. The old man didn't understand why Ning Fan would smile. Smiling was a kind of expression, a calm and composed principle of life. It had nothing to do with one's mood, sadness or happiness. This old man is Ming Luo. As you can see, this old man is just a root clone and can't do anything to you. I do have something to ask of you. As for the details, please come to the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave and discuss it with this old man. I won't enter the 9th level, not even the 6th level. Ning Fan's smile vanished. He took 3 steps back and stamped his foot. A black demon flame was stamped into the ground by Ning Fan. Immediately, a root on the ground was burned to ashes with a sizzling sound. The old man named Ming Luo groaned as if he was slightly injured. Sneak attack. The old man actually used his roots to sneak attack Ning Fan while they were talking. "You lured me into the 9th level and ambushed me with your roots. Who is the despicable and shameless one? I don't want the Ming Luo fruit anymore. Let's forget about the matter of helping you. Seeing that you are Elder Bright Sparrow, I won't kill your doppelganger. If you continue to obstruct me, I have a way to injure your original body by killing your doppelganger." Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He kept the cauldron and extinguished the earth fire. If it wasn't because this place was under the control of the old man and there were countless spirit-severing demonic beasts lurking around, he wouldn't be so polite to the old man and wouldn't spare his clone. Humph. Trying to leave. It's true that I can't do anything to you, but all the demonic beasts in this grave obey my orders. I may not be able to kill you, but if I don't let you leave, do you think you can? The old man's eyes turned cold. His spirit sense seemed to have transmitted some kind of order to the surroundings. Immediately, spirit-severing demonic beasts walked towards Ning Fan with ferocious eyes. This was a threat. And this threat was obviously more difficult to deal with than the old man's clone. The atmosphere was in a deadlock. The little girl stamped her feet impatiently. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to see this biscuit brother who she had just met to have a conflict with Elder. Enough. Elder, if you hurt biscuit brother, I won't take the medicine anymore. A trace of black light flickered in the little girl's eyes. Immediately, a wave of pressure that was like that of the Lord of the Demon race made all the spirit-severing demonic beasts crouch on the ground and shiver. The demonic beasts were afraid of the void fragmentation old demon, Ming Luo, but they were more afraid of the little girl. However, after the black light flashed, the little girl's face immediately showed a painful expression, as if it was extremely difficult for her to make the black light flicker violently. Mysterious black lines began to appear on the little girl's face as her expression became more and more painful. Then, a pair of black wings grew out from her back, piercing through her clothes. It was a heart-wrenching pain. Almost at the moment when the wings grew out, the little girl let out a painful cry and fainted. The old man, on the other hand, revealed a look of horror after witnessing the change of the little girl. Not good. She used that demonic force recklessly, causing the void poison to act up again. I must give her medicine immediately. Void poison was an extremely powerful poison in ancient times. It was produced from the black feathers of the immemorial dark sparrow's tail, which had fused with the void force and extreme poison of the immemorial dark sparrow. The void poison of an adult immemorial dark sparrow could easily poison a true immortal to death. A long time ago, the old man had discovered that there was void poison in Bright Sparrow's body. He tried his best to suppress the poison, but in the end, he was shocked to find that the poison was far more powerful than he had expected. It was impossible for him to remove it with his void fragmentation cultivation base. The old man used several kinds of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs to concoct some kind of medicinal liquid to barely suppress the void poison. As long as Bright Sparrow didn't use her demonic force recklessly, the poison wouldn't be triggered. As long as she didn't use her demonic force recklessly, the poison wouldn't be triggered. The old man didn't know alchemy, so the medicinal liquid he concocted couldn't cure the void poison. Gradually, the poison seemed to have developed a resistance to the medicinal liquid and was getting harder to suppress. Once the void poison broke out completely, Bright Sparrow might die. Therefore, after knowing that Ning Fan had broken through to the 5th grade pill concoction realm, he had an idea. However, he had never expected that little Bright Sparrow would use the forbidden demonic force in order to protect Ning Fan, causing the void poison to break out prematurely. The old man's heart was burning with anxiety. At this moment, he no longer had the mood to scheme against Ning Fan. This time, he didn't know whether Bright Sparrow could survive this ordeal. His eyes were burning with anger, as if he wanted to eat Ning Fan alive. If Bright Sparrow dies, this old man will burn my demonic soul and be consigned to eternal damnation. I'll rush out of Dark Sparrow's grave and shred you into 1,000 pieces, stinking brat, get lost. Get out of Dark Sparrow's grave. The old man picked up the unconscious little girl and immediately flew back to the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. However, Ning Fan didn't leave. He frowned and stopped the old man. He didn't have a good impression of this old man, but when it came to the little girl, he couldn't help but care about her. Wait. What else do you want? The old man turned his head angrily. When he saw the same trace of worry in Ning Fan's eyes, his anger subsided slightly. She isn't poisoned by the void poison. If I'm not mistaken, the force she used should be the dark demon force of the immemorial Imperial Dark Sparrow. I don't know what exactly your medicine is, but it's most likely to suppress the void poison. Suppressing it isn't helping her, but harming her. Ning Fan's eyes were solemn. The dark demon force. The Imperial Dark Sparrow. Impossible. She's just a little pill devil. I've seen her grow up with my own eyes. The old man's heart shuddered. As a member of the demon race, it was impossible for him to not know the name of the immemorial Dark Sparrow and the terror of the Imperial Dark Sparrow. He had seen a pill devil take shape, grow up and turn into a little girl with his own eyes. How could a pill devil be the immemorial Dark Sparrow and the overlord of the demon race? This was utter nonsense. However, after listening to Ning Fan's words, the old man also felt that the mysterious force in the little girl's body was indeed the legendary Imperial Dark Sparrow, the Dark Demon Force. The immemorial Dark Sparrow was the overlord of the demon race while the Imperial Dark Sparrow was a one-in-a-million existence. Only the Imperial Dark Sparrow could produce the Dark Demon Force. With this force, the Imperial Dark Sparrow could easily deter other demon races. This little girl, Bright Sparrow, had an inexplicable restraint on the demon race since she was born. Perhaps it was this restraint that made the old man develop a good impression on her. If this force was really the Dark Demon Force, everything would make sense. The old man's eyes revealed a struggling expression, but after pondering deeply, he believed 30% of Ning Fan's seemingly absurd judgment. The old man didn't understand how a pill devil could become the Imperial Dark Sparrow, but it seemed to be the truth. If this demonic force was the demonic force of the Dark Demon, then this void poison should have been a great benefit to Bright Sparrow. Perhaps after a few decades, she would have reached the spirit-severing realm even if she wasn't a void refinement expert. However, this void poison had always been suppressed by Ning Fan's medicinal liquid. Moreover, the medicinal force had unknowingly nourished the void poison, making it stronger and stronger. If Bright Sparrow could completely refine this void poison, perhaps it would be enough for her to break through to the void refinement realm, but such a terrifying poison wasn't something a gold-core little girl could devour. If Bright Sparrow died, she would certainly die from the void poison going out of control, and the reason why the void poison went out of control was because he had been suppressing it all along. How sure are you that she has the Dark Demon Force? The old man closed his eyes bitterly. 70%. Ning Fan replied plainly. Hee, after hearing what you said, I'm 80% sure. No wonder this void poison could absorb the medicinal liquid to grow. I understand now. Can Bright Sparrow still be saved? Once the void poison is dispersed, she will die for sure. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave will be barren. Hee, little friend. You have underestimated the power of this void poison. If the void poison is dispersed, not only the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave will die for sure, but even the area 100,000 zhang below the ground and 100,000 li in radius will also be turned into ashes. Little friend, I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. Do you have any means to save her? I have, 30% confidence, 30%, Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. Life and death were determined by fate. He only had 30% confidence to save the little girl. The little girl's physique was too strange and the level of the void poison was unknown. There were too many uncertainties. Is that so? 30%. I don't even have 10% confidence. If you are willing to save Bright Sparrow, what are your conditions? Tell me. The old man's eyes flickered and said sternly. I have 3 conditions. The first condition is that you have to hand over a trace of your true soul to me. In this way, if you harm me, I can severely injure you at any time. This is fine. The old man hesitated slightly. It wasn't because he was hesitant about handing over the true soul, but because Ning Fan's first condition wasn't to ask for benefits, but to protect himself. The second condition is that I want to use your 10,000-year-old spiritual herb. With it, my success rate will increase to 70%. 70%. Of course, this is fine. At first, the old man was disdainful when he heard that Ning Fan wanted a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb, but when he heard that the herb could increase the success rate of saving Bright Sparrow by 70%, the old man immediately agreed and was overjoyed. I haven't thought about the third condition. If I can save this little girl, I will ask for a reward based on this condition. If the treatment fails, the void poison will definitely disperse. I don't think this poison can spread to more than 100,000 zhang above the ground, but I believe that I will definitely die in the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan gave the old man a meaningful glance. The old man's previous statement that the void poison would destroy the land within 100,000 li was absolutely a lie. His purpose was to make Ning Fan think that he had no way to escape and take the risk to cure Bright Sparrow. Without this threat, the old man couldn't guarantee that Ning Fan wouldn't leave the Dark Sparrow's grave. However, he didn't know that Ning Fan had many shortcomings, but he would always repay kindness. The little girl's kindness to Ning Fan was insignificant, but if it wasn't to help Ning Fan, she wouldn't have used the dark demon force and triggered the void poison, putting herself in danger. However, this might be her fortune. If it wasn't for this, Ning Fan might have left this place without knowing that the girl's void poison would explode one day and she would die. There was a 70% chance of success in saving Ming Quebec. If he succeeds, Ning Fan would be fine. If he failed, the void poison would erupt, destroying the Dark Sparrow's grave, and he would die in the grave. A 30% chance of death was enough to frighten ordinary cultivators, but to Ning Fan, a 70% chance was enough for him to take the risk. If he didn't save Bright Sparrow, he would have to ask himself what kind of Tao he had cultivated. If he didn't save Bright Sparrow, his last bit of persistence towards kindness would become a joke. He would save Bright Sparrow not because of the old man's threat, nor was it because of the reward, but because of the persistence of his Tao heart. He slowly took out a sound transmission stone and sent a message to Xue Qing through a spell. Xue Qing, take Ji He, Xiaolan and Sisi, leave the Dark Sparrow's grave as soon as possible. He had decided to take the risk himself and would never involve Ji He and the other girls. He didn't give any explanation to Xue Qing and the others. This is my Tao. Chapter 119. Old man Ming Luo separated a trace of his true soul and passed it to Ning Fan. As for Ning Fan, he followed old man Ming Luo into the 6th level. If Ming Luo made a move, Ning Fan would crush his true soul and Ming Luo would be gravely injured. If Ning Fan went back on his words, Ming Luo, who had regained the cultivation base of his void refinement clone, could easily kill Ning Fan even if Ning Fan had the black demon flame. Ning Fan had decided to cure Bright Sparrow's poison for the sake of his Tao heart. However, after entering the 6th floor, Ning Fan's expression immediately turned strange. This was because old man Ming Luo had stuffed the unconscious little Bright Sparrow into Ning Fan's arms. You carry her. I'll deal with those blind little things, but watch your hands. If you dare to touch her body, I'll kill you. After old man Ming Luo threatened him, he no longer paid attention to Ning Fan. He released all of his aura and swept across the 4 directions. One by one, the void refinement demonic beasts attacked him with sharp chi, but he couldn't see their whereabouts. The speed of the void refinement demonic beasts was too fast, so fast that Ning Fan couldn't identify them. All of the void refinement realm demonic beasts in this place were already unwilling to submit to Ming Luo. If Ming Ke was awake, it would be easier. With a flash of black light from her big eyes, all the demonic beasts would immediately submit to her. However, the deterrent force of Ming Luo was obviously not as strong as Ming Ke's to these void refinement realm demonic beasts. Fortunately, old man Ming Luo's true body was a void fragmentation old monster. Some of his techniques were naturally not something that void refinement realm demonic beasts could match. After a few attacks, these demonic beasts realized that they couldn't eat Ning Fan easily and left resentfully. All the scenes fell into Ning Fan's eyes and turned into a thought. He carried Bright Sparrow's petite body horizontally like a princess carry. The reason why Ming Luo carried Bright Sparrow was because he wanted to free his hands to deal with the enemy. In order to cure Bright Sparrow's poison, he needed a safe environment and a large amount of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs. The spiritual herbs in the brocade pouch were not enough. Therefore, he had no choice but to go to the 9th level of the grave. Before that, Ning Fan had no choice but to temporarily seal the Bright Sparrow void poison using the profound medical technique inherited from ancient chaos and rushed to the 9th level. Holding the little girl in his arms, Ning Fan's heart wouldn't have any stray thoughts. Even if Ning Fan's didn't cultivate the yin-yang transformation, he wouldn't have any lust for a 7 or 8-year-old girl even if he didn't have any mental laws. Old man Ming Luo had thought too much. He had thought too much of the human race. The battle between Ming Luo and the Void Refinement Realm Demon Beast was silent and untraceable. However, the surrounding forests were burnt and frozen. The mountains and rivers collapsed and the wasteland was cracked for hundreds of li. The rumbling sounds were endless. Ning Fan didn't care about such a level of battle. His mind was fully immersed in the rain in the 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. The raindrops of the 6th level weren't cold, but extremely sharp like sword light. Every single drop of rain seemed to be formed by sword chi. This technique wasn't simply transforming swords into rain. The profoundness of it all lay within the divine intent of rain. Ning Fan listened to Kei Shenxi's words. In the past, Kei Shenxi's killing intent was aroused in his heart when he was in the 6th level. As a result, the rain in this level was infected by his killing intent and the divine intent of rain that Kei Shenxi comprehended began to fuse with his killing intent. Move the heart to kill, turn the killing into the sword, turn the sword into the rain, and use the rain to kill. This is the comprehension of Kei Shenxi in the 6th level. Ning Fan spoke indifferently. He didn't fuse the divine intent of rain according to Kei Shenxi's comprehension. He had comprehended a trace of the divine intent of rain, but in order to truly master the divine intent, he still needed to fuse it with his own Tao. The rain of killing intent was Kei Shenxi's Tao, but not Ning Fan's Tao. But just by watching it, it would be a good reference. The 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave was extremely vast. Ming Luo rode the immortal cloud and flew for at least hundreds of thousands of miles before a huge pit appeared. Finally, Ming Luo heaved a sigh of relief. His immortal cloud descended and rushed straight to the 7th level. As soon as he entered the huge pit, an old man who looked exactly the same as Ming Luo came treading on the sky. After a ray of traveling light, the old man and the old man merged into one. All of a sudden, Ming Luo's chi soared. Intermediate void refinement, late void refinement, 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level, all the way to the 4th level before stopping. At this point, Ming Luo heaved a sigh of relief and said coldly, "All right, in the 7th level, this old man has merged with my true body, restoring my strength to the 4th level of void fragmentation. In this way, those 1st and 2nd level void fragmentation demons in the 7th level will no longer be a threat to me. As long as I can safely cross the 8th level and enter the 9th level, everything will be under my control." Ning Fan was still holding Bright Sparrow's body. At this moment, Ming Luo was convinced that Ning Fan wouldn't have any evil thoughts towards Bright Sparrow. Feeling relieved, he began to concentrate all his attention, circulating his magical power and condensing it on his palm, as if he was preparing a magical art. Ming Luo didn't explain much, but Ning Fan could guess that the reason why he was so serious was to launch a deadly attack on some old monsters in the 8th level. In order to save Bright Sparrow, this old man was working very hard. No, he was risking his life. Under such circumstances, even if Ning Fan had the intention to help the old man and fight against the enemy together, he couldn't help the old man at all. A battle of void fragmentation wasn't something that a harmonious spirit expert like Ning Fan could intervene in. his task was to save Bright Sparrow with all his might after entering the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Before that, he would have sufficient time to comprehend the rain intent of the 7th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. The 5th level, Ice Rain. The 6th level, Sword Rain. The 7th level, Thunder Rain. The rumbling thunder exploded in Ning Fan's ears. Amidst the gale, torrential rain poured down from the sky and the earth. Such a violent momentum stirred Ning Fan's mind. He was infected by the impassioned and unyielding battle intent in the sound of the rain. That year, Kei Shensi must have made a great progress in his divine intent and used it to advance his cultivation base, causing his battle intent to surge. His surging battle intent blended with the divine intent of rain, turning the rain in this place into a thunderstorm. Thunder from the flat ground, rain from the sky, I want to kill. What echoed in Ning Fan's ears was the declaration of battle intent left by Kei Shensi in the divine intent of rain. Ning Fan opened his eyes, looking pensive. Kei Shensi thoroughly comprehended the divine intent of rain in the 5th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. In the 6th level, he blended his killing intent with the rain. In the 7th level, he blended his battle intent with the rain. What kind of Tao sense would he blend into the rain in the 8th level? This answer didn't bother Ning Fan for a long time. In the 7th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ming Luo was driving the immortal cloud at lightning speed. In just half an hour, he had crossed millions of miles and entered the huge pit that led to the 8th level. 1st and 2nd level void fragmentation demonic beasts wouldn't dare to stop him. In the void fragmentation realm, every level was a world of difference. With Ming Luo's cultivation base at the 4th level of void fragmentation, he only needed one palm strike to kill a 1st level demonic beast. He only needed 3 palm strikes to kill a 2nd level demonic beast. After passing through the world of thunderstorm, the rain in the 8th level made Ning Fan's eyes flicker for the first time. The rain here wasn't any different from the rain in the 1st, 2nd and 4th levels. It just flowed calmly like the calm ocean. However, this ocean must contain boundless unyielding intent. Otherwise, why would the rain fall from the ground to the sky? The 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the heaven-defying rain. Ning Fan didn't need to listen to Kei Shensi's enlightenment. Just by looking at this scene, Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He recalled the oath that Kei Shensi made. This oath had become true in the 8th level. I want this rain to grow on the earth and fight against the heavens to achieve immortality. Ning Fan gently exhaled a breath of air. The divine intent of rain in the 8th level was not a small thing to him. The cultivators he faced had succumbed to fate. Even a powerful figure like the old devil was teased by fate. As for Ning Fan himself, he had never had the intention to change his fate. However, Kei Shensi was different. He dared to think and act. He had made an oath in the Dark Sparrow's grave to fight against the 4 heavens immortal world. Perhaps, his wish had already been fulfilled in the 4 heavens immortal world. This man had the courage to go against the heavens. Ning Fan slowly closed his eyes while holding Bright Sparrow in his arms. The trace of persistence in his heart was magnified infinitely. That persistence was to never cut off his emotions to form his core. Everyone would have this trace of obsession, but it was rare to find someone who could cultivate this obsession into his own Tao. Ning Fan was questioning his own heart and comprehending his own Tao during Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment journey. I won't cut off my emotions. The moment these words resounded in his heart, a trace of mysterious enlightenment immediately fused with the divine rain intent. The seemingly impossible step of fusing the divine rain intent began to appear. The divine rain intent had fused. Ning Fan opened his eyes, which were filled with slight astonishment. However, he didn't have time to think about the changes in his body. From afar, several whistling sounds were already approaching. 3 void fragmentation experts, 2 at the 3rd layer and 1 at the 4th layer, were glaring at Ming Luo like a tiger with deep hatred. Ming Luo, your granddaughter seems to be in trouble. Do you need us to help her? An old man with snake scales on his face sneered in a peculiar manner. His snake eyes were staring at Bright Sparrow in Ning Fan's arms and licked his lips. Helping was fake, but killing was real. The snake-scaled old man's eyes darkened. Immediately, a strange demonic chi mixed with soul power penetrated into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Demonic soul. Only the demon race could cultivate the form of a soul. This child is not bad. Why don't I seize her body? This old monster was a snake-shaped demonic beast that had transformed into a human. His demonic soul was tyrannical and strange. It bypassed Ming Luo's body and invaded Ning Fan's body, attempting to invade Ning Fan's sea of consciousness and seize his body to refine it into an incarnation. Ming Luo's expression changed dramatically. He never expected that the snake-eyed old man's demonic soul was stronger than his. It bypassed him and sneaked an attack on Ning Fan. Ning Fan. Ming Luo's heart was filled with complex emotions. He couldn't wait for Ning Fan to die, but at least he didn't want anything to happen to Ning Fan before he could save Bright Sparrow. If Ning Fan was successfully seized by the snake-scaled old man, he would die for sure. In that case, who else could save Bright Sparrow? He revealed an anxious look and thought to himself. Ning Fan had a sword sense technique. Most likely, his sea of consciousness had condensed a sword sense. He didn't know whether this kid's sword sense was strong or not. It would be great if he could resist the snake-scaled old man's possession for a while. Then, he would crush the demonic soul in this kid's sea of consciousness. He withdrew the magical power that had been brewing in his palm for a long time and pointed at Ning Fan's glabella. He was racing against time to resolve the snake-scaled old man's possession. However, the two void fragmentation third-layer demons didn't stay idle. When the snake-scaled old man seized Ning Fan's body, the two of them attacked Ming Luo from the left and right, forcing him to withdraw his palm. Snake Ji. Don't go too far. I can't let you kill this kid no matter what. Ming Luo revealed an anxious expression. Hehe, so what if I bully you? So what if I kill him? Xiong Kuan, Tiger Ju, the two of you stop Ming Luo. Wait until I possess this kid and refine him into an incarnation. Then, I'll come and help the two of you. The snake-scaled old man sneered, as if he didn't take Ning Fan's possession seriously. A harmonious spirit human actually dared to enter the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Even the void fragmentation experts of the Rain Palace didn't dare to enter this place. This kid must be tired of living. Originally, the snake-scaled old man wouldn't put a harmonious spirit junior in his eyes. However, he could see that Ming Luo was extremely protective of Ning Fan along the way and that Ning Fan was very useful to him. Ning Fan was only a harmonious spirit expert and was extremely easy to kill. After killing this kid, Ming Luo's heart would be disturbed. Then, it would be easy to kill Ming Luo. However, just as his thought reached this point, he felt a heart-wrenching tearing sensation from his spirit sense. Arg! The snake-scaled old man screamed miserably. His eyes were filled with horror as he stared at Ning Fan. He thought that 1/3 of his soul force was more than enough to possess Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. However, the result was that the soul force that entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness was crushed into pieces by a sword sense that was so sharp that it was suffocating. This is sword sense. No, even if it's sword sense or sword consciousness, it shouldn't have such power. What kind of sword chi is this sword chi that you condensed? You don't need to know. Old man Ming Luo, what are you waiting for? Do it now. A cold light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He had destroyed 1/3 of the snake-scaled old man's soul with his sword consciousness, but he had also suffered some injuries. Ning Fan would remember this enmity. From the moment the snake-scaled old man seized Ning Fan's body to the miserable shriek, the 2 third-level void fragmentation demons hadn't reacted to what had happened. Only Ming Luo vaguely guessed that Ning Fan had used some strange means to ambush the snake-scaled old man. There was no need for Ning Fan to urge him to take action. As soon as Ming Luo saw the reversal of the situation, he immediately seized the chance to win. He gathered the magical power that had been brewing in his body for a long time in his palm and struck out. A 10,000 zhang huge withered tree palm pressed down on the snake-scaled old man and the other two demons with a terrifying pressure that could engulf the heaven and earth. The three of them were caught off guard and immediately used all their strength to defend against the palm force. At this critical moment, Ming Luo immediately drove the immortal cloud with all his strength, rushing straight to the huge pit in the 9th level. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow and the 100,000 incarnations of Ming Luo tree. That was the place where Ming Luo dominated. Not to mention the snake-scaled old man and the other two demons, even a true immortal would lose a layer of skin if he entered that place. After traveling for 100,000 li, Ming Luo's spirit sense swept back and found that he had shaken off the snake-scaled old man and the other two demons. At the same time, he glanced at Ning Fan. For the first time, he had a trace of respect for this young man. This young man had actually ambushed a 4th-level void fragmentation old monster. Whether it was due to the snake's extreme carelessness or not, Ning Fan was proud of himself. "Kid, this old man, Ming Luo, owes you a favor." "Is that so?" Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took a few healing pills. Only then did his complexion look slightly better. He ambushed the snake-scaled old man purely to protect himself, but since Ming Luo had determined that he owed Ning Fan a favor, Ning Fan wouldn't be stupid enough to deny it. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave wasn't far away. The giant palm force was the palm force that Ming Luo had been preparing for a long time. It was extremely powerful. The 3 void fragmentation old monsters joined forces to receive it. They had to use all kinds of methods to disperse the palm force and shatter the giant palm. The 2 3rd-level void fragmentation demons sighed. This palm was enough to show the tyrannical strength of Ming Luo. It seemed to be a mistake for the two of them to provoke Ming Luo with their 3rd-level void fragmentation strength. As for the snake-scaled old man, his face was extremely gloomy. He originally planned to bring people to ambush Ming Luo, but he didn't expect to be ambushed by a harmonious spirit junior, injuring his soul. Ming Luo's palm even affected the injury of his soul. Hateful. Chase, chase, chase. We can't let them escape, especially that harmonious spirit human. The snake-scaled old man hated Ning Fan to the extreme. His hatred was even stronger than his hatred for Ming Luo. However, Ming Luo had already escaped far away and the snake-scaled old man was injured. How could they catch up? Hateful. This is the first humiliation of my life. Chapter 120. The 9th level of the world of Dark Sparrow's grave. As far as the eye could see, there was a sea of 300 meters tall giant trees. Above the sea of trees, there was a light drizzle. Ming Luo's tightened face finally loosened up a little when he arrived at this place. You'll be safe after escaping to this place. Each towering tree here is a spirit-severing clone of this old man. There are more than 100,000 of them. Ming Luo's words were both a comfort and a warning. Thus, Ning Fan did not have to worry about the snake-scaled elderly man's pursuit. At the same time, he also understood that it was best for him to treat Ming K's poison obediently after entering this place. Otherwise, any divine transformation realm giant tree here could pose a great threat to his life. Hurry up and start the treatment. The time for my technique to suppress the poison is almost up. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He didn't put Ming Luo's threat in his heart. His eyes swept across the drizzle in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave and immediately closed his eyes. The drizzle here had no special characteristics. It was no different from the ordinary rain curtain in the mortal world. However, Ning Fan had gained a great understanding of the divine intent of rain. He could see that there shouldn't be any rain in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. This rain was transformed by the divine intent. It had nothing to do with magical power or magical technique. It was merely the divine intent that summoned the rain from heaven and earth. When the void God intent was cultivated to the extreme, it could change the law of heaven and earth. In the immemorial era, it was said that there was a demon ancestor torch dragon who had a unique understanding of the law. By opening and closing his eyes, he could change day and night. By inhaling and exhaling, he could change the seasons. Immortals could turn stone into gold, turn the rotten into the divine, and turn the autumn into spring. All of these were closely related to the void God intent. Of course, an ordinary spirit-severing cultivator might not be able to change the law of heaven and earth even if he comprehended the void God intent and integrated it with his own Tao. Changing the laws required great magical force and divine ability. When Kei Shensi comprehended the divine intent of rain, his cultivation base was extremely profound and he was already a true immortal expert. That was why he was able to leave behind traces of Tao enlightenment in the rain curtain. There was no rain in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. However, in the past, a black-robed old man activated the divine intent of rain with just a sentence and made it rain in the 9th level. If I tell you to rain, you have to. This is an order. This sentence had turned all the heroic spirit into a plain tone, but it was still overbearing, because this sentence was said by Kei Shensi to the heavens. From the 1st to the 9th level, Ning Fan had completely relived Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment journey in the past. His heart was deeply touched. This kind of feeling would further promote Ning Fan to fuse and form his own divine intent of rain. In this world, there were no raindrops that were exactly the same, and there were no divine wills that were exactly the same. Merging the Tao heart into the spirit intent. If this step was completed, Ning Fan's could completely condense the spirit intent when he reached the harmonious spirit realm. Although he couldn't use it for the time being, countless early spirit-severing old monsters would be envious of him just by condensing the divine intent. Not every old monster could condense the void spirit intent. Many early spirit-severing old monsters couldn't condense the void spirit intent in their entire lives. That was why their cultivation base remained stagnant at the early stage. His state of mind slowly rose as he comprehended Tao. Ning Fan seemed to be welcoming his third transformation in the Dark Sparrow's grave. The first metamorphosis was his identity. His identity turned from mortal to cultivation. The second metamorphosis was his means. His means emerged endlessly and began to grow stronger. The transformation this time was most likely a transformation of the state of mind. Ning Fan's strength was far stronger than the likes of Bai Feidong and Yen Bai. He was afraid that he wasn't any weaker than Gui Xiaozi. However, no matter how his heart was polished by the memory of the ancient chaos, it was still the heart of a teenager. It was inevitable that there would be some immaturity in it. This immaturity was reflected in his life experience. He could imitate the ancient chaos great emperor's style of doing things, but there were many things that he would never understand if he didn't experience it himself. Just like many years ago, Ning Fan raised his head and yearned for the immortals that could fly in the sky. He thought that the immortals were carefree. Now, it seemed that the life of the immortals was no different from that of mortals. It was still a cycle of alternating joy and sorrow. They still needed to work hard step by step to carve out a future. He closed his eyes slightly and carefully comprehended this trace of emotion. However, in his arms, the unconscious little girl Bright Sparrow suddenly let out a cry. A trace of black blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth and a trace of pain appeared on her pale eyebrows. Her poison is acting up. I need to quickly go to a place with a sea of fire, and prepare these 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs as soon as possible. I want to cure her poison there. Ning Fan's face turned solemn. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. He imprinted the names of some spiritual herbs with his spirit sense and gave it to Ming Luo. You must cure her. Ming Luo said solemnly. N. In the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, there was an abyss and a dormant volcano. The reason why it became a dormant volcano was because there was a 900,000 zhang tall demonic beast skeleton lying beside the volcano. It was the bone of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. This bone emitted the unique cold-ine energy of the Dark Sparrow, extinguishing the volcano. The cold-ine energy spread across the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, causing it to rain endlessly. It spread out from the Dark Sparrow Valley, making sinister sparrow sect Chilean suitable for cultivation. This skeleton was extraordinary, but at this moment, Ning Fan obviously didn't have the mood to examine it. He carried more than 10 kinds of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs and carried the unconscious little Lolita in his arms. A ray of light stopped at the crater of the volcano. Looking at the blazing magma in the depths of the volcano, his scalp went numb. After a moment of hesitation, the black demon flame dispersed, turning into a flaming shield that wrapped around his body. Then, he leaped into the crater. The power of the flame here had probably reached the level of 4th grade spiritual fire, which was only 1 grade lower than the earth vein demonic fire. If Ning Fan hadn't devoured the black demon flame, he wouldn't dare to enter this place. The reason why he came here was to suppress the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body. The void poison originated from the tail feathers of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. This poison was deadly to ordinary people, but to Bright Sparrow, it was a good thing to improve her cultivation base. Unfortunately, with Ming Luo Trent's help, the void poison was suppressed by the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs time and time again. Moreover, the medicinal efficacy of the herbs was being absorbed, making the poison even more powerful. Given Bright Sparrow's gold core magical force, it was absolutely impossible for her to refine the void poison. However, with Ning Fan's help, the outcome would be unpredictable. In order to suppress the extremely cold void poison, Bright Sparrow had to come to this place of magma and use the heat to nourish the immortal veins in her body. Within 10,000 meters of the volcano, the dark green magma was bubbling and emitting heat. The heat was somewhat unbearable for Ning Fan, but when it blew on Bright Sparrow's body, it turned into a trace of comfort and warmth. "It's warm, warm." Bright Sparrow opened her big eyes in a daze, revealing a sweet smile to Ning Fan. She realized that Ning Fan was going to treat her poison. She had a good impression of this big brother who concocted flatbread for her. "Is it just warm?" Ning Fan's eyes revealed a pensive look. The heat here was so hot that even he couldn't stand it, but to Bright Sparrow, it was just warmth. Previously, Bright Sparrow's little hands even dared to reach into the boiling cauldron and take the pills with her hands. All of these shouldn't be the ability given to her by the cold-ine force of the void poison. Pill Devil Physique, Ning Fan's eyes revealed a look of understanding. He vaguely understood Bright Sparrow's physique. There was no doubt that Bright Sparrow was a pill devil. Moreover, she was a 5th revolution pill that had transformed into a human pill devil. However, this pill devil was born in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, right next to the remains of immemorial Dark Sparrow. It seemed that when the pill devil obtained spirituality, it was nourished by the remains of Dark Sparrow, causing a mutation. At this moment, Dark Sparrow could be said to be an extremely high-quality pill or a demonic beast that had the chance to advance to the immemorial Dark Sparrow royal clan. According to Xue Qing and Ming Luo, the time for Bright Sparrow to completely transform would be in the next thousands of years. The pill devil was the body of a pill that was concocted from a cauldron. As for a 5th revolution pill, the earth fire used to concoct it was certainly not lower than the 5th grade earth fire. After going through layers upon layers of earth fire, it would take the shape of a pill and transform into a devil. Naturally, little Bright Sparrow wouldn't be afraid of fire. After all, she was born in fire. However, there was a question that concerned Ning Fan. Was the birth of little Bright Sparrow the will of heaven or was it man-made? If it was the will of heaven, then forget it. If it was man-made, then the body of Pill Devil was fused with the soul of Dark Sparrow royal family. One day, when little Bright Sparrow's cultivation base improved, the grade of the pill would also improve accordingly. Because of the soul of Dark Sparrow royal family, the grade of the pill would reach a level that could move the heart of a true immortal. If Bright Sparrow was created by a true immortal, then perhaps this true immortal would come back one day to take away this pill of Bright Sparrow. That true immortal was just a guess. He didn't know if the true immortal really existed, but the only thing he was sure of was that if the true immortal really existed, he wouldn't be Kei Shensi. From Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment, Ning Fan could see the true immortal's character. This true immortal was a decisive and domineering person. He would never spend countless years on a pill devil. Given Kei Shensi's character, he would rob whatever pill he wanted. Dark Sparrow's Grave. Demon Sinister Forest. Demon Sinister Forest was the forbidden land of Sinister Sparrow sect that was sealed by Kei Shensi, but it didn't seem to be arranged by him. The one who raised the ghost was someone else. Could it be possible that the one who raised the ghost was raising another pill devil in the Dark Sparrow's grave? Hundreds of thoughts flashed across his mind, but in the end, he shook his head. Everything was just a guess. He couldn't figure out the truth. The priority now was to treat Bright Sparrow's poison. Facing the unconscious Bright Sparrow, Ning Fan's face was as calm as an ancient well. He gently undid the buttons on her black skirt and took off her clothes. Immediately, a petite snow-white body was revealed. The body of a 7 or 8-year-old girl was almost the same as a boy. If this could still arouse Ning Fan's evil thoughts, it would be heaven-defying. Without any distractions, Ning Fan took out a jade bowl and ground the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs into medicinal liquid. The medicinal effect of the liquid was less than 1/10 of that of the concocting pill. It was a complete waste. However, Ning Fan didn't have the time to concoct a 5th revolution pill to save Bright Sparrow's life. Although the medicinal liquid was poor, there was a lot of it and it was enough for Bright Sparrow. He dipped his finger into the viscous and milky medicinal liquid, drew a mysterious formation mark, and smeared it on Bright Sparrow's tender body. The unconscious little girl felt Ning Fan's finger touching her body. A trace of shyness emerged in her heart, causing her face to be filled with panic. She wouldn't normally feel shy, but there were some complicated memories in her mind, which made her understand shyness. Gradually, she vaguely felt that it was extremely inappropriate for her body to be touched by Ning Fan like this. "Cookie brother, don't touch here. You can't. I will give birth to a lot of babies." Bright Sparrow's face was blushing and she sounded like she was about to cry. "You are just a little girl. Who taught you these messy things? Could it be Ming Luo?" Ning Fan knitted his brows. There was absolutely no romantic feelings between a 7 or 8-year-old girl. What made him dissatisfied was that Ming Luo, who looked like a decent old man, actually taught Bright Sparrow those messy things between a man and a woman. Otherwise, it was impossible for a little girl to blush just by touching her body. Ning Fan had really wronged Ming Luo. Ming Luo was just a tree spirit. He might not even know about the matters between a man and a woman. How could he have taught Bright Sparrow anything? All of these were the incomplete memories that were inherited from the void poison. As the poison was suppressed, the memories were gradually spread. "No, don't. Cookie brother, I beg you, don't use that thing to poke me. I'm afraid of pain." Bright Sparrow pleaded in a daze. "You are thinking too much. Little girl, don't let your imagination run wild. What poke or not, forget it. I will let you have some peace first." Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. He pointed at Bright Sparrow's forehead, letting her sleep soundly. Originally, he only had less than 70% success rate in detoxifying Bright Sparrow's poison. After being disturbed by Bright Sparrow, the formation mark wasn't perfectly drawn out, making the success rate even lower. The first step was to draw hundreds of formation marks on Bright Sparrow's naked body, imitating the hundreds of immortal veins, drawing out the void poison from the immortal veins and attaching it to the surface of her body. At first, Ning Fan didn't have any distracting thoughts. He didn't even think about the matters between a man and a woman. But after being disturbed by Bright Sparrow, he felt slightly strange. A pill devil who had lived for hundreds and thousands of years and vaguely knew about the matters between a man and a woman, could she still be considered as a little girl? When his finger was drawing the formation mark, it inadvertently brushed past the tender body of the little girl. Immediately, his heart shuddered. Ning Fan, you can't do things that are not sexual. You are a devil, but not a sexual creature. He muttered to himself in his heart. He suppressed all the stray thoughts and only completed the formation mark after a long time. The unconscious Bright Sparrow's long hair was like a waterfall. A trace of warmth gradually rose on her tender skin. The void poison was being suppressed. However, the unclear memories in the unconscious Bright Sparrow's mind were increasing. I am the princess of the immemorial Dark Sparrow race. My name is Si Tsang. Chapter 121. The first step was to draw 100 formation runes on Bright Sparrow's body. The second step was to channel the void poison into the runes of the array, leaving only a little for Bright Sparrow, who was at the Gold Core realm, to devour. The rest was to be sealed. The first step was to outline the formation runes. There was no room for error. With Ning Fan's spirit sense and the Tao of formations, it was not difficult for him to do so. However, the second step involved the separation of the seal and the void poison. Ning Fan didn't have too much confidence in this step. Even after feeding the unconscious Bright Sparrow several kinds of fire attribute 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs, his confidence was still less than 70%. The stronger the suppression of the surrounding fire might on the void poison, the greater the chances of sealing it. Ning Fan stood on a piece of burning hot flint and looked at the dark green magma beneath his feet. After pondering for a moment, he carried Ming Ke in his arms with one of his hands and summoned the black demon flame to protect his body with the other hand. Then, he leaped into the magma. It sank. The deeper he went, the stronger the might of the lava became. Ning Fan's magical power was rapidly depleted in the process of resisting the might of the lava. He took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb called Ganoderma lucidum and took a bite. Immediately, magic power filled his body. 10,000 years black Ganoderma. It was a rare 10,000 years old spiritual medicine that could be consumed directly. It couldn't increase one's cultivation base, but it could quickly restore one's magical force. It was extremely expensive, even ordinary nascent soul cultivators might not be able to afford it. This mysterious Ganoderma was provided by Ming Luo, but Ning Fan did not feel distressed at all. At this moment, saving people's lives was the priority. Wasting spirit herbs was not worth mentioning. His magic power was depleted and replenished again and again. Each time, his magic power would become more condensed. At the bottom of the magma, Ning Fan stopped diving. He had already eaten 1/3 of the 10 millennia mysterious Ganoderma. If he dived any deeper, he might not have enough dermic powers to return to the volcano. The might of the fire here was far stronger than Ning Fan had expected. Under the might of the fire, the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body was inevitably suppressed. The success rate of sealing the void poison had increased once again. His eyes turned cold as he shot out a black flame and lifted Bright Sparrow's body up. His divine sense entered Bright Sparrow's body and immediately, it started to freeze. This strange method of freezing one's divine sense was exactly the same as what had happened in the rain pond in the second layer of the Dark Sparrow's grave. It seemed like this was the reason why Ning Fan's spirit sense was frozen at that time. However, this place wasn't the second level of the rain pond, and Ning Fan had devoured the black demon flame, the earth vein demonic flame. A black flame flashed in his eyes, and the frozen divine sense instantly melted. His divine sense carefully traveled along the meridians in Bright Sparrow's body, guiding the void poison into the formation patterns on the surface of her body bit by bit. 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, all the way to the 43rd. From the beginning to the end, Ning Fan had been concentrating all of his attention. He did not spare a single trace of his spirit sense for other purposes. The void poison was also slowly guided by him, completing the sealing of the 43rd meridian. However, at this moment, a sense of life and death crisis suddenly came from behind. It was the roar of a beast. It turned out to be the fire spirit that had formed inside the volcano. These fire spirits had dark green flame bodies and each of them was only at the harmonious spirit realm. However, as a sneak attack, each of their magical techniques struck Ning Fan's body. Even with the silver light body refinement realm, he was still severely injured. Moreover, the sealing of the 43rd immortal vein nearly failed. Mere fire spirit, you're courting death. His glabella turned cold. He patted the top of his head and summoned the incarnation of his soul sense. A black-robed figure stepped out from Ning Fan's body. His appearance was exactly the same as Ning Fan's, but there seemed to be a few mysterious patterns on half of his face. His expression was filled with killing intent and anger. His half-step nascent soul chi swept across the sea of fire. Which fire spirit was the one that injured me just now? How dare you stop me from saving people? Courting death. The incarnation of Ning Fan moved like a ghost. Every time he pointed with his finger, vast magical power would spread out, and a few fire spirits would explode and die. After these fire spirits exploded, they would occasionally produce a red spiritual pearl. The incarnation of Ning Fan kept the pearl in his hand with cold eyes. Demon core, only by killing gold core demons can one obtain their demon core. It seems like some of these fire spirits have already reached the edge of breaking through to the gold core realm. Unfortunately, you've offended me. You'll never have the chance to form your gold core in this lifetime. The incarnation of Ning Fan turned his head and said to the human Ning Fan. You save Bright Sparrow again. I'm going to kill them. Don't worry. The incarnation was a soul that was divided into two people. Neither of them could be considered as Ning Fan. In other words, both of them could only be considered as half of Ning Fan. The left hand and the right hand would never argue. The two of them were the two different parts of Ning Fan. Many cultivators above void fragmentation like to refine their second incarnation because they were the only person in the world who would never betray them. They cultivated the Tao all their lives and were always cautious. In the end, they only believed in themselves and no one else. The incarnation was the self while the clone was an illusion. It was hard to describe how profound it was. However, after the incarnation of Ning Fan dived deeper into the magma, the blood-curdling screams of slaughter gradually faded away. Far away, the human Ning Fan was still sealing the void poison for little Bright Sparrow without batting an eyelid. Her injuries weren't light, but Ning Fan didn't have the time to heal them. He had to suppress her injuries and save her. Cookie brother, thank you, you're the best. The unconscious Bright Sparrow opened her blurry eyes and gave Ning Fan a sweet smile. No need to thank me, does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. The sealing of the void poison was an extremely painful thing, but Bright Sparrow still showed a casual smile. She was a strong little girl. Bear with it. It won't take long. After sealing the void poison, I will refine a cookie for you. Ning Fan's tone was like coaxing a child. Bright Sparrow's eyes were filled with expectation. The pain seemed to have disappeared. Of course. 50 seals, 60 seals, 99 seals. Ning Fan couldn't seal the void poison perfectly due to his injuries, but he managed to complete 99 seals. The last seal was to link all the seals together. From then on, 90% of the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body would be sealed in the formation marks on the surface of her body. 10% of the void poison was sealed in her body by Ning Fan, slowly spreading out for her to refine. He only needed the last seal to succeed, but Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn as he found out that he couldn't seal the last seal no matter how hard he tried. He found out that there was a seal hidden in Bright Sparrow's body. It was a pill seal. In order to prevent the pill from being consumed by someone else, the owner of a high-grade pill would plant a pill seal in the pill. If the pill fell into the hands of someone else who didn't know about the pill seal would be activated and the pill would turn into ashes. What they couldn't get, they wouldn't let others get it. This was the style of many experts. Bright Sparrow was a pill devil, and there was a pill seal in her body. This confirmed Ning Fan's bad guess. Bright Sparrow was indeed a pill master created by someone. Moreover, that pill master had planted a pill seal in Bright Sparrow's body. It was this pill seal that stopped Ning Fan from placing the last seal. Cookie brother, what's wrong? Bright Sparrow blinked her eyes. Her consciousness was gradually returning to normal after the void poison was almost fully sealed. It's nothing, it's just a pill seal cast by a mere 9th revolution pill master. Ning Fan's face sank. A 7th revolution pill master could already concoct void fragmentation pills. A 9th revolution pill master must have a great reputation among the true immortals. He was already a 9th revolution pill master, but he was still setting up a pill devil. What was that pill master trying to do? Was he trying to concoct a pill that surpassed 9th revolution? He had no enmity with that mysterious pill master, but since he had a slight relationship with Bright Sparrow, he couldn't just watch Bright Sparrow be eaten by that pill master one day. Ning Fan didn't have a 9th revolution pill concoction technique, but he had a few means to break the 9 revolution pill seal. His eyes flickered with a cold light, but he immediately retracted it and said to Bright Sparrow with a smile as if nothing had happened. Don't worry. The 100th seal will be ready soon. From today onwards, you are free. Ning Fan took out bottles and jars and began to grind the medicinal liquid. Half an hour later, the pill seal was broken. The 100th seal was formed. All of a sudden, Bright Sparrow's chi soared. Her petite body floated up and slowly transformed under the magma. Her chi rose abruptly from early gold core realm to mid gold core realm, late gold core realm and finally peak. There was also a supreme and cold majesty gradually forming in Bright Sparrow's eyes, a majesty that didn't match her body at all. At the same time, in the easternmost land of Rain Immortal World, in the Endless Sea, among the 103,000 islands, on a huge floating island, a goddess statue suddenly shone with black light. At this moment, all the experts on the island were pleasantly surprised. Goddess, it's the goddess. The goddess didn't abandon us. The goddess has returned. A spirit-severing old priest knelt down in front of the goddess statue while trembling. All the other clansmen also knelt down at this moment. If one took a closer look, one would notice that although these cultivators were humans, their bodies didn't have divine veins or devil veins, they had demon veins. It was an immortal vein that couldn't be formed by humans even in ancient times. Each of them was emitting powerful demon chi. They were dignified spirit-severing old monsters, but they were kneeling and kowtowing in front of the statue. All of this was because this statue used to worship the princess of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. Chapter 122. After helping her put on her clothes, Ning Fan looked at Ming Kei indifferently and carefully observed her. Pill Devil. A devil raised by a 9th revolution pill master. Ning Fan said these 2 words to comfort Bright Sparrow, but he couldn't help but feel shocked in his heart. A 9th revolution pill master. He had broken Bright Sparrow's pill seal. Perhaps, he would offend an extremely terrifying and ruthless person in the future. When Bright Sparrow was in a deep sleep, she was no different from a mortal girl. 90% of the void poison was sealed and turned into a mark of intertwining formation marks, branded on her chest. 10% of the void poison was sealed in the demonic vein. Bright Sparrow had already broken through to the peak of Gold Core Realm before she could completely refine this poison. If she could refine 10% of the void poison, it wouldn't be difficult for her to break through to the nascent soul realm. In fact, it might even be possible for her to break through to the spirit-severing realm. Bright Sparrow's origin and future would far surpass Ning Fan. She had awakened a trace of dark demon force. This was the unique power of the dark sparrow of the royal family, which could intimidate groups of demons. Perhaps even the 9-revolution pill refinement master who nurtured the devil didn't expect this to happen. The body of a pill demon was impervious to fire and water. The dark sparrow of the royal clan, the boundless demon Tao. It wouldn't take too long for her to reach the nascent soul realm and the spirit-severing realm. Once she attained the spirit-severing realm, Bright Sparrow would be able to break the seal on her own and completely refine the void poison. At that time, there might be a new void fragmentation expert in the Rain Immortal world. Compared to ordinary people, Ning Fan's ancient chaos memories was like ascending to the heavens in a single bound. But compared to Bright Sparrow, it was still a far cry. In the Four Heavens Immortal world, there were countless descendants of fiend gods like Bright Sparrow who were blessed by the heavens. The sky was divided into 4 seas, which were the 4 celestial realms. The world was divided into 9 worlds. The Rain world was only one of them. Moksha Emperor was merely an expert of the 9 worlds. Ascending to the 4 heavens was nothing to him. Slowly closing his eyes, Ning Fan tried to calm his complicated feelings. No matter what, he would not lose to Moksha Emperor. As for those descendants of the fiend gods of the heaven realm, he might not necessarily lose. Following the sealing of the void poison, the pair of black wings on Bright Sparrow's back gradually disappeared and the mysterious runes on her face also began to disappear. Her breathing gradually became even. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief at this moment. It seemed like there were no sequelae after the sealing. He had a 70% chance of success. There was no excitement, only a matter of course. If he failed, he would definitely die. Therefore, he could not lose. He did not leave with Bright Sparrow immediately. Instead, he waited above the lava. He was waiting for the incarnation of his thought spirit. The sense soul incarnation had entered the magma to chase after the fire spirit. It had been a long time, and even now, it still hadn't come out. Due to the urgency of the matter, Ning Fan couldn't care less about the instability of his incarnation. In order to resist the fire spirit, he forcefully summoned his incarnation. His incarnation had left his body for a few hours. Perhaps, it had already exploded. However, Ning Fan did not sense his incarnation exploding. It seemed a little strange. No, from the moment the incarnation appeared, it was extremely strange. This time, not only did the incarnation show no signs of exploding, it was even more balanced with the main body. Moreover, after separating from his incarnation, Ning Fan was no longer wearing white robes and a black cloak. As for his incarnation, he was clad in black robes. That kind of situation was like a black and white intersecting yin and yang fish that was separated, and this separation was not just a simple separation, but a separation of personalities, a complete separation of the body in the sea of consciousness. After the black body left his body, the white-robed Ning Fan gradually realized that his sea of consciousness had disappeared from the top of his head. If an ordinary cultivator's sea of consciousness disappeared, they would die without a doubt. However, even though Ning Fan's sea of consciousness had disappeared, his physical body was still intact and he could exert the power of spirit sense. As for his personality, the moment the black body left his body, it was divided into 2 halves. The white-robed Ning Fan, who had an easygoing smile, was the sunny side of the true body. As for the black-robed Ning Fan, his appearance was filled with dense killing intent, which was the ruthless side of the true body. On the rock, Ning Fan, the white-robed Ning Fan, pondered for a moment. The separation of the incarnation this time was different from the past. Why was it like this? All of these changes seemed to have happened after entering Dark Sparrow's grave. Recalling the scene of the incarnation's appearance, the white-robed Ning Fan suddenly recalled something. When the black-robed Ning Fan first appeared, there seemed to be some strange patterns on his face. He didn't pay much attention to it at that time, but after thinking about it carefully, those patterns turned out to be the divine intent of rain. No, not only the divine intent of rain, but also the chi of the yin-yang locket. Could it be that the yin-yang locket had fused with the divine intent of rain, causing the incarnation to undergo a qualitative change? The separation of personalities, the sea of consciousness and the physical body. The white-robed Ning Fan inherited the physical body, yin-yang devil vein, magical treasures and divine abilities, as well as the easygoing and sunny personality. The black-robed Ning Fan inherited the sword sense, the murderous chi of an immortal emperor, and the ruthlessness of killing people like scything flax. From the moment the incarnation was separated, the white-robed Ning Fan on the rock was no longer Ning Fan, but half of him. The black-robed Ning Fan was no longer illusory. It had completely solidified, and it was also half of Ning Fan. When the black and white Ning Fan merged into one, it was the unification of yin and yang, becoming the real Ning Fan. Thinking of this, the white-robed Ning Fan smiled faintly. Along the way, he comprehended the divine intent of rain, fused a trace of Tao heart, condensed a trace of his own divine intent, and imprinted it on the incarnation with the help of the yin-yang locket. When the incarnation was completely solidified, the black-robed Ning Fan would become the black-robed Ning Fan. This meant that he could release his incarnation at any time in the future, and he would have a half-step nascent soul helper. The black-robed Ning Fan's half-step nascent soul cultivation base alone was enough to compete with the old ancestor-level figures of Yu country. This time, he had gained a great harvest in Dark Sparrow's grave. But I wonder if there will be any changes when the incarnation fuses into one. The white-robed Ning Fan stood on the rock with his hands clasped behind his back. After a long time, he opened his eyes and smiled faintly. His heart sensed that the black-robed Ning Fan was coming from the bottom of the magma. Sure enough, after a while, a black light flashed and left the magma. It flew to the rock and looked at the white-robed Ning Fan. This was the incarnation of the black-robed Ning Fan. Is the fire spirit settled? The white-robed Ning Fan asked with a smile. N. The black-robed Ning Fan's expression was cold, as if he never smiled. He flicked his sleeve and hundreds of warm fiery red demon cores were taken out and handed to the white-robed Ning Fan. The white-robed Ning Fan didn't say anything. He kept the demon cores and looked at the black-robed Ning Fan with a strange light in his eyes. From today onwards, I am not Ning Fan and you are not Ning Fan. We are just half Ning Fan. N. The black-robed Ning Fan said coldly. He looked at the white-robed Ning Fan as if he was looking at himself. Immediately, the white-robed and the black-robed Ning Fan took a step forward and merged into one in a burst of brilliance. The brilliance faded and Ning Fan returned to his white robe and black cloak. After a long time, he opened his eyes and revealed a playful smile. Interesting. The white-robed Ning Fan and the black-robed Ning Fan were both himself. One yang and one yin, one hot and one cold, one white and one black, one life and one death. The main reason for this was the cultivation of the divine art of chanting. Comprehending the divine intent of rain was a turning point, and the yin-yang locket was the key to triggering the change. This was the divine ability that only void fragmentation old monsters could master. Today, it was completely mastered by Ning Fan. He looked at the sleeping bright sparrow with a smile and hugged her in his arms. Then, he leaped into the air and dashed out of the crater. The white-robed Ning Fan and the black-robed Ning Fan are both Ning Fan. But after the separation, I can no longer call myself Ning Fan. After the separation, the white-robed Ning will change his name to Bai Fan. The black-robed Ning will change his name to Mo Ning. Bai Fan and Mo Ning. This was the Tao of Yin Yang. Chapter 123. In the continuous rain, he landed on a giant tree that was tens of thousands of feet tall. This tree covered the sky and was as lofty as a giant peak. It was the tree body of Old Man Ming Luo. After landing on the giant tree, a spirit sense that was even stronger than a fourth-layer void fragmentation realm spirit sense immediately scanned across Ning Fan. After sensing that Bright Sparrow was safe and sound, that spirit sense seemed to be slightly relieved. "Enter this old man's body." An indifferent voice came from the gigantic tree. Immediately, the tree trunk in front of Ning Fan's cracked open, revealing a gigantic door that was tens of zhang tall. This tree was the Ming Luo tree, the original body of old man Ming Luo. Even the short and small old man who was at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm was merely formed by the demonic soul of the Ming Luo tree spirit. His original body was a tree that grew in the dark and gloomy underground. He hated fire, and his original body couldn't leave the ground. The aura force of his true body was extremely strong. It was a piece of cake for him to kill that fourth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old man with snake scales. Since he could not leave the ground, the tree spirit could only leave his body to search for Bright Sparrow. That was why the monsters on the 8th level could take advantage of him. If the demons of the 8th floor dared to behave atrociously in the 9th floor, Ming Luo would turn all of them into his fertilizer. Ning Fan was slightly stunned by Ming Luo's true strength. When he thought about it, Ming Luo seemed to owe him a favor. If he asked Ming Luo to help him kill Wuxia Emperor, Ming Luo would most likely not reject it. But unfortunately, Ming Luo's main body couldn't leave the 9th level, and his clone was restricted. Every time he went up a level, his cultivation would drop a little, and he couldn't leave the Dark Sparrow's tomb. Just like what Ming Luo had said, there was only one way for him to leave Dark Sparrow's grave. Burning his demon soul and using his death as the price to break the law of heaven and earth. Thinking of this, Ning Fan let out a bitter smile. Asking Ming Luo to kill Moksha Sovereign was somewhat unrealistic. Moreover, Ning Fan was more inclined to take Moksha Sovereign's life with his own hands. Of course, the prerequisite was that he had the confidence to kill Moksha Sovereign. Within the giant tree, there were 9 bends and 10 bends, slowly bending towards the world at the heart of the tree. At the heart of the tree, there was a magnificent wooden palace. As soon as a short black-robed old man saw Ning Fan, he immediately came out to welcome him. "The void poison has been suppressed?" He sounded extremely excited. Looking at Bright Sparrow who was sleeping peacefully in Ning Fan's arms, his eyes were filled with affection. "Fortunately, I didn't fail you," Ning Fan said indifferently. "All right. Good. Go to Bright Sparrow's room and let her rest for a period of time to recover her demonic essence." He placed Bright Sparrow on the bed in the room and allowed her to rest temporarily. Outside the house, Ning Fan stared at the short old man with a solemn expression. The short old man in front of him was Ming Luo Treant. He was a void fragmentation expert, but Ning Fan felt so tiny in front of his true body in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Ming Luo's true body was much stronger than Moksha Emperor. Ning Fan had fulfilled his request and cured Bright Sparrow. According to this demon's character, he probably wouldn't bite the hand that fed him, but life was unpredictable. Ning Fan had to be extra careful since he was in a dangerous place. He secretly held a wisp of true soul in his sleeve. It was the soul of Ming Luo. His tone was indifferent. "I fulfilled Senior's request. Right now, can I make a third request to Senior?" There was not a trace of carelessness in Ning Fan's eyes. This was the cautious way of living in the world. Once Ming Luo made any strange move, he would crush his true soul and greatly damage his cultivation. "Hee, little friend, you've saved Bright Sparrow. If you have any request, just say it. Don't worry, I'm Ming Luo. I'm an open and above-board person. I'll never go back on my words to my friends." Ming Luo's words were neither red nor breathless. Open and above-board, he seemed to have forgotten that he had sneak-attacked Ning Fan. How was that open and above-board? Ning Fan gave Ming Luo a strange look. He didn't expose the past to avoid embarrassment. This Ming Luo seemed to care about his face. In order to save Bright Sparrow, Ning Fan made 3 requests. First, Ming Luo had to hand over a wisp of true soul in exchange. Second, Ming Luo had to use a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb to cure Bright Sparrow's poison. Ning Fan didn't get any benefit from either of the two requests. It seemed like he was suffering a loss, but in fact, he had a third request. Moreover, there was a big mystery in the first request. Perhaps, Ning Fan would have to trick this treant. Since Ming Luo had agreed to Ning Fan's third request, Ning Fan wouldn't be polite anymore. I'm sure Senior can guess my third request. I want the Ming Luo fruit. Sure enough, you want the Ming Luo fruit. Alright, this old man will agree to it. But, how many Ming Luo fruits do you want? I only have 3 with me now. If you want the 4th one, you will have to enter my Ming Luo illusory realm to pluck it. Ming Luo's eyes froze and looked at Ning Fan. Ming Luo illusory realm. That's right. In this illusory realm, there are countless of Ming Luo fruits, but I can't enter this realm myself. Bright Sparrow is unconscious now, so she can't enter either. If you want to enter, I will make an exception and let you enter once. Ming Luo's tone was flat as if he was talking about something casual, but Ning Fan was slightly moved. In the memory of ancient chaos, there seemed to be a mention of the place where the Ming Luo fruit grew, the Ming Luo illusory realm. However, this illusory realm had never allowed any races other than the demon race to enter. Ming Luo's sincerity in opening the illusory realm for him was not small. Moreover, it was said that the illusory power of this illusory realm disregarded one's cultivation base. The number of Ming Luo fruits one could pluck depended entirely on the firmness of one's Tao heart. It had nothing to do with one's cultivation base. Even a void fragmentation cultivator might be bewitched by the illusory realm and return empty-handed without being able to pluck a single Ming Luo fruit. With a trace of Ming Luo's true soul in his hand, Ning Fan wasn't worried that Ming Luo would harm him. Moreover, Ning Fan wouldn't be foolish enough to refuse the opportunity to obtain more Ming Luo fruits. Thank you, Senior, for opening the illusory realm for me. Sure. Seeing that you have saved Bright Sparrow, I will remind you again. Don't be greedy when you enter the illusory realm. As long as you close your eyes and wait for the illusory power to dissipate, you can easily obtain a Ming Luo fruit before the illusory realm closes. Young man, don't be greedy. For Ming Luo fruits is already a lot. Thank you for your reminder, Senior Ming Luo. I will keep it in mind. However, I still want to try my best to pluck a Ming Luo fruit without resorting to trickery. Forget it, if you are eroded by the illusory power, I will forcefully take you out. Ming Luo shook his head. He praised Ning Fan's courage, but he didn't think that Ning Fan could obtain half a Ming Luo fruit from the illusory realm without resorting to trickery. The illusory power was directed at the weakest part of the human heart. Devil Dao cultivation techniques would be more susceptible to the illusory power. This young man seemed to be a devil cultivator of the human race, so it would be harder for him to resist the illusory power. Ming Luo firmly believed that Ning Fan would gain nothing in the illusory realm, but he still opened the illusory realm for him as a reward for saving Bright Sparrow. Ming Luo's 10 fingers formed a seal. After a ray of light, a mysterious space appeared outside the Tricor Palace, faintly emitting an extremely strong illusory power. Ning Fan took a step into it. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn after Ning Fan entered the illusory realm, Ming Luo's expression suddenly changed. He sensed that Ning Fan had broken through the illusory realm and plucked the first Ming Luo fruit. This young man actually plucked a Ming Luo fruit. Ming Luo's expression gradually turned solemn. He seemed to have underestimated Ning Fan. To be able to pluck a Ming Luo fruit meant that Ning Fan must be a person with a heart of stone. As a human devil cultivator, he was able to pluck a Ming Luo fruit. This young man was extraordinary. It's a pity that this young man is destined to not be able to pluck a second Ming Luo fruit. In the Ming Luo illusory realm, the more Ming Luo fruit one plucked, the stronger the illusory power would be. The difficulty of plucking the next fruit would also increase. Since the establishment of my Ming Luo tree clan, countless experts had entered the Ming Luo illusory realm, but there were less than 100 people who could pluck a second Ming Luo fruit at this young man's age. Ming Luo muttered to himself in a low voice, but before he could finish his words, his eyes were filled with surprise. He sensed that Ning Fan had plucked the second Ming Luo fruit in the illusory realm. The second fruit. Even among the human race, those young experts who cultivated the righteous profound cultivation technique would find it hard to resist the illusory power of the second Ming Luo fruit. If he can pluck the third Ming Luo fruit before the age of 20, then he can be considered as a heaven's chosen. Ming Luo's heart was filled with anticipation, anticipating Ning Fan to do something amazing. But to his disappointment, Ning Fan hadn't plucked the third Ming Luo fruit even after half an hour, as if he was trapped by the illusory power. Ming Luo sighed slightly. It seemed like he had overestimated this young man. In the illusory realm, Ning Fan was holding two Ming Luo fruits, standing in the boundless seven-colored world. Rivers were flowing in the sky, mountains were hanging upside down in the sky, beasts were walking upside down. This was an illusory realm that subverted common sense. Thousands of seven-colored fruits were floating in the sky, seemingly real and illusory at the same time. Among them, only some were real while the rest were fake. If one plucked a fake fruit, the illusory power would enter his body. As soon as he entered the illusory realm, he activated the first level of yin-yang transformation. An immortal emperor's cultivation technique had a great resistance against the illusory power. As soon as this cultivation technique was activated, Ning Fan immediately found a real Ming Luo fruit and plucked it successfully. But immediately, the surrounding illusory power doubled, making it hard for Ning Fan to identify it again. Fortunately, after pondering for a long time, Ning Fan finally found out the whereabouts of a real Ming Luo fruit from a trace of it and plucked it into his bosom. However, the illusory power in the surroundings immediately doubled. At this point, the first level of yin-yang transformation couldn't identify the real Ming Luo fruit at all. At this moment, Ning Fan had an idea. He might as well take a gamble, but he was wrong. He held the third Ming Luo fruit in his hand, but it was fake. As soon as it touched his hand, it immediately burst into bursts of seven-colored mist, enveloping Ning Fan. Ning Fan's expression changed. He knew that his body had been invaded by the illusory power. He immediately revealed a vigilant look and scanned the surroundings, but nothing happened. But after a burst of fragrance, the naked figures of countless women suddenly appeared in front of him. After Ning Fan let out a cold snort, these illusory figures exploded and returned to the seven-colored mist. But immediately, the seven-colored mist condensed into a familiar figure of a woman. The girl in front of him was wearing a fox fur coat and had her hair combed into a maiden's bun. She was looking at Ning Fan pitifully. "Big brother Fan, if you kill Jihe, you can break free from the illusory power. You can even obtain a Ming Luo fruit, but, are you willing to do it?" This Jihe was undoubtedly an illusion formed by the illusory power. Jihe, Ning Fan closed his eyes, a trace of desolation appeared in his eyes. Kill the illusion and obtain the Ming Luo fruit, but if he didn't, he would be trapped by the illusory power. The Jihe in front of him was just an illusion. Ning Fan only needed to summon the separation slayer and he could easily break this illusion, but he couldn't slash this sword, even if it was an illusion. The illusory power went straight to one's heart. How was this illusory power? This was clearly the heart's devil. If I slash this sword, not only will I obtain the Ming Luo fruit, but it will also greatly benefit me in breaking through to the gold core realm and severing my emotions in the future. However, if I slash this sword down, it will be a blasphemy to Jihe. I don't want this Ming Luo fruit anymore. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a trace of determination. At this moment, the last trace of greed for the Ming Luo fruit in his heart had dispersed, leaving only perseverance. The moment the greed dispersed, the Jihe in front of him suddenly exploded into colorful mist, and the clouds of mist vanished rapidly. The illusory power was finally broken, and there was a Ming Luo fruit at the place where the colorful mist exploded. However, there wasn't a trace of joy on Ning Fan's face, there was only a sigh. Severing my emotions, severing my heart's devil, although I didn't slash Jiha, I still managed to escape once. I wonder if I can escape again the next time I form my core, but I finally know the way to take away the Ming Luo fruit. Over there is thoughtless. In the end, I, Ning Fan, can't achieve thoughtless, but even if Ning Fan can't do it, Mo Ning can. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with contemplation. A moment later, he patted the top of his head, immediately transforming into two figures in white and black. The one in white was Bai Fan, and the one in black was Mo Ning. Bai Fan had a smile on his face, but he was immediately bewitched by the illusory power. As for Hei Yi, his heart was as cold as a stone. There was no temptation that could move his heart. Do I want to take away these Ming Luo fruits? Humph, it doesn't matter if they are real or fake, I'll just take them away. He waved his hand fiercely and immediately obtained dozens of Ming Luo fruits from the countless floating Ming Luo fruits. At the same time, a heaven-defying illusory power swept toward the black-robed man, but he was not affected at all. I, thoughtless, how can you bewitch me? Break! The illusory power was shattered by his cold gaze. In the outside world, Ming Luo had been waiting for a long time, but he still couldn't see Ning Fan getting the third Ming Luo fruit, which made him feel slightly regretful. The time for the illusion to close was about to come, but there was still no sign of Ning Fan coming out. What did he actually do inside? Forget it, he must have been trapped by the illusory power after obtaining two Ming Luo fruits. Let me save him. Ming Luo shook his head. When he was about to take action and forcefully pull Ning Fan out, his eyes suddenly turned solemn. That solemn expression turned into astonishment at an astonishing speed, and the astonishment became even more intense. He has obtained the third Ming Luo fruit. Wait, he has obtained the fourth, the fifth, this, Ming Luo's eyes were dazed. He realized that for the first time in his life, the Ming Luo illusory realm began to show signs of collapse before it closed. What did that kid actually do in the illusory realm? He actually caused the illusory realm to collapse in advance. With a rumbling sound, two rays of black and white light rushed out from the illusory realm, turning into the figure of a young man in white and black cloak. At the next moment, the illusory realm closed with a loud bang. What a pity. Hei Yi is a little too reckless, otherwise, he could have obtained a few more Ming Luo fruits, but he only obtained 10. You obtained 10 Ming Luo fruits in the illusory realm. Ming Luo's zombie-like face twisted into a ball because of disbelief. 10 fruits. In the history of the Ming Luo tree clan, those who could obtain 10 Ming Luo fruits in a trip to the illusory realm were all experts above the nascent soul realm. As for nascent soul experts, no matter how monstrous they would at least be a few hundred years old. Even if they cultivated using the isolated world force like the Lost World Palace, they would still need to go through hundreds of years of tempering in the illusory realm. Without hundreds of years of experience, it was impossible to resist the illusory power of the 10th Ming Luo fruit. But Ning Fan's bone age didn't seem to be 20 years old no matter how Ming Luo looked at him. If Ming Luo knew that Ning Fan's incarnation in the illusory realm could ignore the illusory power, he would certainly be more shocked. I was just lucky. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. It was indeed a bitter smile. When he was invaded by the Heart Devil and faced the interrogation of the Heart Devil that killed Jiha, he avoided it. But could he avoid it the next time he broke through to the Gold Core realm? Because his Heart Devil was Jiha. Chapter 124. The injuries from the fire spirit's attack were healed. The state of mind that was invaded by the chaotic force was calmed. After a long time, Ning Fan gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. He waved his palm and took out a fiery red demon core, his eyes sparkling. Fire Spirit Demon Core. Demon core is something that human cultivators can never consume directly. They can only refine it into a pill and consume it. However, the 5-spirit demon core is an exception. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are the 5 origin spirits. If they develop intelligence and become demons, their demon cores can be consumed directly by cultivators. However, there's a cultivation base restriction. If a cultivator wants to consume the 5 spirit demon core, his cultivation base must be at least 1 realm higher than the owner of the demon core. Ning Fan fell into silence. The fire spirit demon core in front of him was a type of 5 spirit demon core. It was sought after by countless peak gold core and even nascent soul cultivators. If his true body were to refine it, he would be devoured by the demon core due to his insufficient cultivation base. Moreover, even if his true body could refine the demon core, his magical power had already reached the peak before the core formation realm and couldn't advance any further. Ning Fan let out a sigh and suddenly thought of something. If he couldn't refine it, could his black-clothed incarnation refine it? The black-clothed incarnation's strength was the same as his true body's spirit sense, which was at the half-step nascent soul realm. Plus, it could be separated from his body. If he stayed in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave to refine the fire spirit demon core, he might be able to reach the nascent soul realm in the grave. Stay in the grave and break through to the nascent soul realm. Ultimately, the strength of the incarnation came from the power of spirit sense. There were small bottlenecks in the improvement of spirit sense, but not as big as the bottleneck of core formation realm. With the help of so many fire spirit demon cores, 3 months would be enough for his spirit sense to break through to the nascent soul realm. When his spirit sense broke through to the nascent soul realm, his black-clothed incarnation would possess the strength of a nascent soul realm expert and sweep across Yu country. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. If his spirit sense reached the nascent soul realm, even if his cultivation base hadn't reached core formation realm, his black-clothed incarnation would have the strength to fight against a true nascent soul realm expert. But immediately, his eyes revealed a trace of doubt. There were 2 safety issues that he had to consider. First of all, the black-clothed cultivator swallowed the fire spirit demon core in the mouth of the volcano. Under the might of the 4th grade fire spirit, the spiritual chi would be overwhelming and it would definitely increase the chances of him forming his nascent soul. Ming Luo's hostility towards Ning Fan had decreased a lot. However, it was because it was unpredictable. Of Ming Luo's heart. But he couldn't guarantee that Ming Luo would not change his mind and attack. There was a solution to this problem. He still had a trace of his true soul with him. He had Ning. He had with him soul. When he of it. He said that he wanted the true soul, but he did not promise to return the true soul to Ming Luo after he cured Bright Sparrow. He was afraid that Ming Luo would ask for his true soul before leaving the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan would leisurely stand in the 1st level of the Dark Sparrow's grave in the teleportation formation, bargaining with Ming Luo's vein-opening clone, exchanging his true soul for some benefits. Ming Luo had launched a sneak attack on Ning Fan and Ning Fan had tricked him once. But later on, Ming Luo activated the Ming Luo illusion realm for Ning Fan. This matter could be considered as offsetting the previous sneak attack. As for Ning Fan, no matter how thick-skinned he would be too embarrassed to threaten Ming Luo at this moment. The last bit of use of this true soul was gone, but if he didn't return it to Ming Luo for the time being, it could be used as a safeguard for his clone in the Dark Sparrow's grave. Then, this true soul would still be of great use. In this way, the problem of the black-clothed incarnation's safety in forming his nascent soul had been solved. However, leaving half of his incarnation in Dark Sparrow's grave and leaving only his white-clothed incarnation, 3 months later, when Extreme Een Gate attacked Ning City, it would be hard for him to contend against Old Devil Purple Een and the others with just his white-clothed incarnation. The white-clothed incarnation inherited his cultivation base and physical body while the black-clothed incarnation inherited his sea of consciousness and sword sense. If the black-clothed remained in Dark Sparrow's grave, the white-clothed incarnation could still sense him with spirit sense, but he wouldn't be able to use the heaven-defying means of sword sense. If the black-clothed could break through to nascent soul realm before Extreme Een Gate attacked, he might be able to reverse the situation. But if the black-clothed encountered an accident after breaking through to nascent soul realm, he would have to use his peak harmonious spirit cultivation base to contend against old devil Purple Yin's half-step nascent soul strength. Ning Fan's spirit sense swept across the volcano and his eyes wrinkled. The volcano that was burning with the fourth-grade spiritual fire had started to extinguish because of Black Robe's massacre of the fire spirits. He didn't know how many thousands or tens of thousands of them had been killed, but he only managed to obtain a few hundred demon cores. If he missed this chance to enter seclusion, there wouldn't be such a good place for seclusion anymore. Not every place under the heavens had a fourth-grade spirit fire waiting for him. After all, a small fourth-grade spirit fire could be sold at a sky-high price in the outside world. The fire of this volcano isn't fire, but demonic energy. It can't be brought out of Dark Sparrow's grave and began to extinguish after the fire spirits were killed. If I miss this chance, it will be extremely difficult for the black-clothed to break through to nascent soul realm. If I let the black-clothed form his nascent soul, the white-clothed will have to face a lot of dangers. Fine, I'll make a compromise. The black-clothed will form his nascent soul here and the white-clothed will leave Dark Sparrow's grave and return to Ning City. If the black-clothed hasn't formed his nascent soul when Ning City is attacked, I'll give up this chance and let the black-clothed return to Ning City. Ning Fan made up his mind and immediately patted the top of his head. With a flash of brilliance, the black-clothed incarnation was separated from the black-clothed incarnation. The black-clothed incarnation and the white-clothed incarnation had a tacit understanding. He took all the demon cores and went straight to the extinguishing volcano with a trace of demonic soul. As for the white-clothed incarnation, he patted his storage pouch and took out a Min Luo fruit, remaining silent. The Min Luo fruit was only the size of a lychee. Its surface was rough, similar to the surface of the stars in ancient Chaos's memory. However, there were traces of 7-colored veins densely covering it, gleaming with dim light and rippling with the power of illusion. The Min Luo fruit, also known as the dream fruit, could allow a cultivator to gain 50 years of mental state. The way to improve mental state was to enter a dream with the help of the Min Luo fruit. In a dream, only one night had passed in the outside world, but 50 years had passed in the dream. 50 years of dream wasn't enough to improve one's cultivation base, but it could make one's mental state calm. Ever since I started cultivating the devil path, my cultivation base has been improving rapidly, but my mental state has always been lacking. Mental state can only be accumulated over time and can't be obtained through pills. I'm afraid there's nothing else in this world that can improve mental state except for the Min Luo fruit. I'm going to take the first Min Luo fruit in Dark Sparrow's grave. The white-clothed Ning Fan smiled faintly. He put the Min Luo fruit in his mouth and bit it. A stream of 7-colored illusion force immediately made his eyelids heavy, sinking him into the dreamland. It was a dream. In the Ning family of Hai Ning, a 3-year-old child with blank eyes was being led into the servants' courtyard of the Ning family. Beside the emerald green jade pond river, countless children in Hai Ning City were also being led into the Ning family with blank eyes. Most of the children were orphans and beggars. They were found by the cultivators of the Ning family from all over Wu country. Their memories were erased and they were accepted into the Ning family as their disciples. Those who had the aptitude for immortal cultivation were called young masters. Those who didn't have the aptitude were reduced to the servants or the foster sons of servants. The 3-year-old child was following behind a skinny middle-aged man in a submissive manner. The middle-aged man said coldly with a snobbish expression. "From today onwards, you will be called Ning Fan. You're my foster son. Before you, I had another foster son. He's 1 year younger than you. His name is Ninggu." "Oh," the 3-year-old child answered carefully. When he heard the name Ning Fan, he found it extremely familiar. When he heard Ninggu, he felt a little sad. He didn't understand what this feeling was. He was just a 3-year-old child. While thinking, the child named Ning Fan couldn't help but halt his steps. He stood there foolishly with blank eyes. Why? I want to be called Ning Fan. Can I not be called this? Mother said that my surname is Yun. Hiss. A 3-year-old child's memory has been erased. How could he still remember his previous life? Humph, I'll have to ask the immortal master to erase your memory again. This time, it must be more thorough. Ning Dainyu was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. This child in front of him was the first to remember his original name after having his memory erased by the immortal master. His eyes moved. Could this child in front of him be a monster? Otherwise, how could it be like this? While he was pondering, a youth in white robe and black cloak gently walked towards him from behind. Although the youth was thin and weak, there wasn't a trace of chi in his footsteps. Obviously, he was a cultivator and not a mortal. Ning. Ning Dainyu greets Grandpa Immortal Master. All cultivators were immortal masters in Ning Dainyu's eyes. Ning Dainyu knelt down in front of the youth. He was afraid, very afraid. He had seen with his own eyes that an immortal master killed 207 bandits in a mountain. Immortal masters were revered existences in Wu country. Even the patriarch of Ning family treated an immortal master with great respect. He, Ning Dainyu, couldn't afford to offend an immortal master. However, the young cultivator didn't even look at Ning Dainyu. Instead, his eyes fell on Ning Fan's child with reminiscence. Your name is Ning Fan, right? That's a good name. Did you say your surname is Yun? N. Xiao Tong answered obediently. Unknowingly, Xiao Tong had an instinctive sense of closeness towards the youth in front of him. Ning Fan, perhaps your original name is Yun Fan. Heh, I didn't expect to see this trace of memory from the depths of my memory after refining the Ming Luo fruit, but, so what if you know your original surname? Ning family adopts orphans. You have no parents after all. There's no difference whether your surname is Yun or Ning. The youth sighed. Oh. Ning Fan nodded, although he didn't understand a word of what the uncle in front of him said. After the youth sighed, his eyes suddenly focused and his chi surged violently. Let me ask you, do you have the heart to go against the heaven? I don't understand. Xiao Tong seemed to have recalled something and revealed a look of fear. Forget it. The first Ming Luo fruit. Your heart is still too young. It's not the right time to return to Hai Ning and eliminate your heart devil. The youth sighed and rolled up his sleeves. Under Ning Dainyu's shocked gaze, both of them vanished without a trace. The dream was broken. When the dream was restored, a desolate and uninhabited land appeared in front of them. The scenes of the demon sinister forest reappeared. 50 years. You have to watch me kill people. The young man stepped into the demon sinister forest with the boy and started the endless massacre. When Xiao Tong first saw blood and broken bones, he was so scared that he fainted and vomited countless times. However, his young heart was maturing again and again. For 50 years, the youth and Xiao Tong didn't have a single conversation. For 50 years, the youth destroyed countless ghosts with a single slash of his sword. However, each time a ghost died, it would reform. There was no end to the massacre because this was a dream. Loneliness, exhaustion, and numbness to killing. Xiao Tong's eyes gradually revealed a resolute and cold look. I wonder if I have the heart to go against the heaven at this moment. I wonder if I can sever my emotions at this moment. Xiao Tong's voice was young, but his expression was as cold as the god of slaughter. Then, 50 years of massacre, the dream was shattered. In the world of the tree heart in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. There was a trace of exhaustion and vicissitudes in his eyes. Only one night had passed in the outside world, but in this dream, he had experienced 50 years of loneliness and massacre. He closed his eyes to calm his mind. After a long time, he opened his eyes again. The exhaustion and vicissitudes in his eyes were gone, but his eyes were completely different from before he entered the grave. His mental state had been improved. 50 years. However, he didn't feel happy at all, only sighing. It's not enough. I don't have the heart to go against the heaven. If I don't sever my emotions, I can't form my core. But I won't sever my emotions. Chapter 125. His mental state had already reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm, which was in line with his cultivation base. One more step and he would reach the gold core realm, where he would have to face the heart devil. As such, the Min Luo fruit could only be eaten when she was truly forming her gold core. Bright Sparrow was still unconscious and undergoing a transformation. However, Ning Fan was unwilling to stay in the Dark Sparrow's grave any longer. After staying in the Dark Sparrow's grave for a few days, perhaps the ancestor of Fire Cloud's sect had already collected the elixirs for the nascent solidifying pill and the corpse life pill. It was time for him to return to the sect to refine the elixirs and prepare for the battle 3 months later. He took one last look at the unconscious Bright Sparrow. She was as pure as a petite princess. This little girl seemed to make him have an instinctive liking for her, but he didn't know why. Just like Ming Luo, the dignified Ming Luo Treant, a supreme figure in Dark Sparrow's grave, treated this little girl like a junior. The power of the dark demon was really a strange power, it made people unable to have the intention to harm it. I'm leaving, he turned around and left with Ming Luo's clone. As he was leaving, Bright Sparrow's eyelashes fluttered. She wanted to open her eyes but she was too tired. Biscuit brother. Profound treasure. Cloud treasure. I will give them all to you. She was talking in her sleep. Ning Fan who had left did not hear her words. The short old man Ming Luo rode an immortal cloud to send Ning Fan out of the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan told Ming Luo about his incarnation going into seclusion in the volcano. His true soul also said that it would return after 3 months. Ming Luo hesitated for a moment, but he didn't care too much about his true soul. With his cultivation base, the black-robed Ning Fan would not be able to leave the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave without his permission. Thus, he was not worried that the black-robed Ning Fan would escape with his true soul. The one who escorted Ning Fan away was still the body of the short old man, but this time, Ming Luo was much more cautious. He had used almost all of the power of his demon soul and the strength of his clone had reached the 5th layer of the void fragmentation realm. If he encountered the old man in snake scales again, he would not be afraid. In the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the rain came out of nowhere and the divine will of magic arts. In the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the heaven-defying rain contained the lofty ambition of defying the heavens and slaying the heavens. It was infused with Kei Shenxi's lifelong defiance. Ning Fan left in the opposite direction and looked at the rain again. Because the time was different, the purpose was different and the state of mind was different, the rain was different too. The rain lingered in his heart for a long time. From the 8th layer of rain, he gained the confidence to slay his inner demons. The only way to reach the core formation stage without severing one's emotions was to have such a state of mind. The heart of defying the heavens. Ning Fan, who was dressed in white, slowly closed his eyes and comprehended in the rain. In the 7th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the thunderstorm was infused with Kei Shenxi's will to fight. The rain of swords in the 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave was infused with Kei Shenxi's killing intent. The 5th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the ice rain, the place where the divine intent of rain was first condensed. The 4th layer, autumn rain. The 3rd layer, the rainless realm. The 2nd layer, summer rain. The 1st layer, spring rain. Standing beside the teleportation formation of the 1st level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan was lost in his thoughts. The rain on the 1st floor was exactly the same as the rain on the 9th floor. It was as if all the rain had returned to its original spot after a round. The raindrops might look the same, but one was Yin Rain while the other was the transformation of the divine will. The cultivation of the divine intent of Rain was a circle. By fusing it into one's Tao heart and cultivating it back to its original point, one would be able to reach perfection. The current Ning Fan had condensed a trace of his divine intent, but he had yet to complete that circle. This circle could only be completed when he reached the spirit-severing realm and understood the heavenly Tao. It was because that circle contained the original appearance of the heavenly Tao. After 50 years of improvement in his mental state, Ning Fan still looked thin and weak, but he was no longer immature. At the age of 18, he was no longer a teenager, but a smiling white-robed youth. Senior Ming Luo, I have some misunderstandings with you in this grave, but I've gained a lot of benefits from you. Once again, thank you. He cupped his fists at Ming Luo, turned and stepped into the teleportation formation, teleporting away by the void force. Hee, I'll come back to see Bright Sparrow if I have the chance. That little girl seems to like you very much. Ming Luo's impression of Ning Fan had improved a lot after witnessing Ning Fan's means and character several times. The sword sense slashed the soul of the snake-scaled old man. Fifth Revolution Pill Concoction Technique. Suppressing the void poison. Ming Luo's illusory realm strangely dissipated. Moreover, the white-robed youth had condensed a black-robed incarnation. The incarnation was completely condensed without a trace of flaw. Even a void fragmentation old monster might not be able to do it, but Ning Fan had done it. This kid is extraordinary and has a good character. He's enough to be a good match for Bright Sparrow. However, it's better to wait for Bright Sparrow to grow up. Ming Luo looked at the direction where Ning Fan left, revealing a rare smile of relief. Bright Sparrow's void poison had been suppressed. His mood was very good. However, that little demon Snake Ji dared to scheme against me. I have to settle this score with him. A cold light flashed in Ming Luo's eyes. It had been a long time since he got angry. It was time to set off a rain of blood in the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. With a flash of light, Ning Fan appeared in the Earth Primordial Palace. Outside the palace were Ji He and the other girls who had left Dark Sparrow's grave under his order. Ji He was very worried, so was Lan Mei. Even Si Wuxia, who had something wrong with her, was slightly worried. But the moment Ning Fan left the formation light, her brows relaxed a little. Brother Fan, you're out. Are you alright? You seem to have changed into another person. Ji He looked at Ning Fan's white-robed, smiling and silent expression, feeling slightly strange. In just a few days, Ning Fan's body had undergone too many transformations. Ji He could see some clues. Lan Mei also had a faint feeling, but they couldn't understand it. As for Yen Bai, he could feel a trace of qi that was as steady as a mountain from Ning Fan. Although he didn't say it, he was quite surprised inwardly. Ning Fan's eyes were so steady. In just a few days, his mental state seemed to have improved rapidly in the center of Dark Sparrow's grave. Not only had his mental state improved, but his cultivation base had also reached the half-step gold core realm from the peak of harmonious spirit realm. He had even condensed a false core in his body. This kid isn't far from core formation realm. Yen Bai's old eyes shrank. His dread towards Ning Fan deepened. As for Xueqing, he could smell a trace of the fragrance of a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb from Ning Fan's body. After the improvement of his concoction technique, Ning Fan's temperament had become even more extraordinary. Ordinary people couldn't see it, but as a third revolution pill master, Xueqing could vaguely sense it. A 10,000-year-old spiritual herb and the temperament of a grand master alchemist. All of these made Xueqing's eyes blaze. He guessed that Ning Fan's concoction technique must have improved again. Could it be that there was an opportunity in the lower level of Dark Sparrow's grave that could improve one's concoction technique? I've missed the opportunity. If I knew that I could improve my concoction technique, I would have followed Master down there even if I had to die. Xueqing regretted. In the end, he didn't speculate whether Ning Fan's concoction technique had broken through to the fifth revolution or not. He was afraid that Ning Fan would tell him about it very soon. As his eyes swept across Ji He, Ning Fan had a vague feeling that things remained the same but the people had changed. Only a few days had passed in the outside world, but he was alone in his dream and had experienced 50 years of slaughter. By the way, Brother Fan, you asked us to leave the Dark Sparrow's grave at that time. What happened? Did you encounter danger? Old Qing had told us about it. Did you go to a very dangerous place? Ji He was still worried. Xue Qing's face turned ugly when he was called Old Qing by Ji He, but he could only smile apologetically. He could only accept whatever his master's wife wanted to call him. There was a little danger, but it's all over now. Ning Fan smiled faintly and lovingly stroked Ji He's beautiful hair. In front of everyone, Ji He's face turned red. She was already 14 years old. Her breasts were already half erect. She was already slim and graceful. Moreover, she had a harmonious spirit cultivation base. She was no longer that silly little girl, but a young lady with bright eyes. Without Ji He, Ning Fan might have died in the all-pleasure sect. Without Ji He, he wouldn't have stepped on the path of evil cultivation. Ever since he met Ji He, his fate had changed again and again. And this time, Ji He had become his heart's devil. Ning Fan didn't tell Ji He about everything. He just smiled. Smiling was an expression that had nothing to do with one's mood. He smiled not because he wasn't worried, but because he didn't want Ji He to worry. It's been a long time since we dual cultivated. He suddenly teased Ji He. This teasing caused Ji He's face to turn as red as a tomato in a split second. As for Lan Mei, her eyes were filled with envy and resentment. As for Xue Qing, he secretly raised his thumb to Ning Fan. He was indeed worthy of being his master. His skin was really thick. He dared to talk about dual cultivation in front of others. He was just like old Monster Han. That night, Ning Fan and Ji He slept on the same pillow in the dual cultivation palace. Sometimes, there was a sensual moan coming from the courtyard. 3 days later, old ancestor Jing Zhua had finally gathered enough herbs. He possessed Lady Yunhua's body and arrived at Sinister Sparrow Sect. In Sinister Sparrow Sect, the last thing was to refine Nascent Forming Pill, Nascent Fortifying Pill and Corpse Life Pill for Jingzhua. The Corpse Life Pill was just a third revolution pill, but the Nascent Formation Pill and Nascent Fortifying Pill were fourth revolution pills. With Ning Fan's fifth revolution pill concoction technique, the time needed to concoct these 2 pills was even shorter. Half a month was enough for him to concoct 2 fourth revolution dawn. The only thing he needed to be prepared was to set up a formation to isolate the phenomenon of the fourth revolution pill. The phenomenon was too huge. Ning Fan didn't want anyone to know that revered Ning of Sinister Sparrow Sect was a fourth revolution pill master, Black Devil Ning. After the battle with Extreme Yin Gate, there was no way to conceal this matter anymore. But at least at this moment, it was not a good time to reveal this matter. This was to prevent Old Devil Purple Yin from knowing about it and increase the number of variables. The nascent realm grand formation of the Dan Palace was arranged by the old ancestor of the Sinister Sparrow Sect in the lower world. After being modified by Ning Fan, the grade of the formation became higher. The parts that were damaged were perfected and it also had the magical effect of isolating the fourth revolution Dan Qi. In this way, there would be less trouble from the heavenly tribulation and it would be much easier. Ning Fan specially allowed Xue Qing to enter the pill concoction room to observe him concoct pills. This made Xue Qing extremely excited. He finally had the chance to observe Ning Fan concoct fourth revolution pills. A fourth revolution pill master was an existence that even nascent soul cultivators would treat with respect. A fifth revolution pill master was a grandmaster that even spirit-severing cultivators would treat with respect. Ning Fan taught the first 4 revolutions of the 9 revolutions river will to Xue Qing. As soon as he opened the furnace, guided the earth fire and threw the herbs into the furnace, Xue Qing was shocked to find that there were 5 round shadows condensed between Ning Fan's fingers. Ning Fan was very familiar with controlling the earth fire and concocting a 4th revolution pill with ease. Master, you have broken through to the 5th revolution pill master. Xue Qing was shocked. Although 4th revolution pill masters were rare, there were tens of thousands of them in the 800 cultivation countries of Rain Immortal World. They were only rare and precious in a desolate place like Yu country. However, there were only slightly more than 100 5th revolution pill masters in the entire Rain Immortal World. Each of them was treated as a distinguished guest by the Rain Palace and even received an audience from the Divine Emperor of the Rain Immortal World. This white-robed youth who was smiling calmly in front of him had become a 5th revolution pill master before the age of 20. A 5th revolution pill master who was less than 20 years old. If this matter was spread out, it would certainly cause a sensation in the entire pill concoction world of Rain Immortal World. It wouldn't be a problem for Ning Fan to break through to the 6th revolution pill master in this lifetime. His future in the Tao of Alchemy was unpredictable. Don't make a fuss about nothing. Quickly observe my 9 revolutions pill master, you will also have the chance to reach the 5th revolution realm in the future. Ning Fan shook his head. Xue Qing's persistence in the Tao of Alchemy had destined him to have a long-term development under Ning Fan's guidance, but before that, Xue Qing must change his startled personality and become more courageous. Chapter 126. Corpse Life Pill, a 3rd revolution pill. Its effect was to increase the lifespan of a refined corpse. Originally, it was quite difficult to concoct a 3rd revolution pill. However, after his pill refinement technique had broken through to the 5th revolution, he did not even feel the slightest tiredness other than exhausting his magic power. It was as easy as refining a 2nd revolution Dan when he was at the 4th revolution. Moreover, the quality of the corpse life Dan that he refined was quite high. There were even a few mysterious runes on it. Divine Rain Will. He adjusted his breathing for a moment before continuing to refine the nascent formation pill and the nascent strengthening pill. Beside him, Xue Qing's eyes burned with desire. The ease with which Ning Fan concocted a 3rd revolution Dan had made him even more convinced that Ning Fan was indeed a 5th revolution Dan master. Next, when he observed the concoction of the 4th revolution pill, his eyes widened even more as he was afraid that he would miss out on any detail. His eyes were like the bulging eyes of a kind of rain frog in the rain world. Nascent formation pill was a 4th revolution pill. It would take him at least half a month to concoct it. The nascent fortifying pill was a 4th revolution pill. Its grade was slightly lower than the nascent formation pill. Originally, it would take at least 10 days to concoct. However, in just half a month, Ning Fan had already concocted both types of pills. His breakthrough in alchemy allowed his efficiency in refining pills to be even faster. The devouring of the black demon flame merged with the earth fire, causing the power of the fire to skyrocket, greatly increasing the efficiency of refining medicine. Under the influence of the divine will of rain, the 2 pills were branded with the divine will of rain and emitted a dense moist feeling. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with the intent of rain. He opened the lid of the Dan fragmentation cauldron and took out the last nascent formation pill. Under the protection of the modified nascent soul realm grand formation, the 4th revolution pill did not emit any pill aura at all. Thus, it did not attract any unusual phenomenon or heavenly tribulation. The pill was formed. As for refining a 4th revolution pill, the exhaustion in his mind was almost negligible. The divine will of rain. Black demon flame. River will 5 revolutions. Almost all of Ning Fan's gains from the trip to the Dark Sparrow's grave had improved his concoction technique. After sealing the 3 pill bottles, Ning Fan kept the pill cauldron and pushed the door open. Behind him, Xue Qing's eyes seemed to be in a daze. He was completely immersed in Ning Fan's magnificent pill refinement techniques. Alchemy. Alchemy. Xue Qing only had the Tao of alchemy in his heart, and he realized that acknowledging Ning Fan as his master was definitely the wisest decision in his life. If it was any other Fifth Revolution pill master, he would never accept Xue Qing as his disciple and impart his concoction techniques to him. As for Ning Fan, he was willing to let Xue Qing observe from the side. Many Fourth Revolution pill masters didn't have such magnanimity. "Thank you, master, for teaching me pill refinement techniques." Xue Qing suddenly regained his senses and bowed deeply to Ning Fan. To this, Ning Fan's smile remained unchanged. His mind, however, was as calm as an ancient well. The state of Yu was a low-ranked cultivation country. His Fourth Revolution pill concoction technique was already enough to drive the old monsters of Yu country crazy. As for Fifth Revolution pill concoction technique, even if he went to a mid-cultivation country, those nascent soul realm cultivators would still be very polite to him. Even if he went to a high-rank cultivation country, those hidden soul formation cultivators would treat him as an equal. However, all of this was on the premise that his strength wouldn't be too much weaker than the other party. Otherwise, no matter how high his concoction technique was, it would only arouse the greed of the other party. Then, the other party would capture him and put him under house arrest, making him their exclusive concoction master. This was the law of survival in the cultivation world. Yu country could no longer accommodate his wings. The spiritual qi in Yu country was sparse. It was hard to find 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs to concoct Fifth Revolution pills. Yu country didn't have the Lost World Palace, so he couldn't shorten his cultivation time. Yu country lacked crisis and experience. There were only a few old ancestor figures in Yu country who could make his hair stand on end. If I stay in Yu country peacefully, I won't have the strength to rival Moksha Emperor after 100 years. After Ning City is done, I will leave Yu country and head to the Endless Sea to form my core. In Ning Fan's eyes, a trace of heaven-defying intent was taking shape, just like the disdainful gaze of Kei Shensi when he looked at the rain in the past. With this trace of temperament, Ning Fan walked out of the high-grade concoction room and handed the 3 pill bottles to Lady Yunhua. At this moment, Ning Fan's gaze was so sharp that Lady Yunhua didn't dare to look at his eyes even with her harmonious spirit cultivation base. Fortunately, they were in a secret chamber. Old ancestor Jingzhua, who possessed Lady Yunhua, flew out and took the pill bottles. Under Ning Fan's gaze, old ancestor Jingzhua's heart trembled. He seemed to have seen scenes of heaven-defying rain in Ning Fan's eyes. What kind of technique is this? I'm afraid that even nascent soul-old monsters don't have such a technique. He gently avoided Ning Fan's gaze and swept through the pill bottles with his spirit sense. Immediately, his face was filled with joy. He didn't know how to concoct these 3 pills, but he had heard of them and had the eyesight to distinguish them. The quality of the 3 pills in the pill bottles was much higher than what he expected. Revered Ning's pills are of great use to me. I can't thank you enough. He cupped his fists at Ning Fan gratefully. Ning Fan had given him the hope of revenge and the hope of prolonging his wife's life. You're too polite. In that case, fellow Taoist Jingzhua should return to the sect as soon as possible to prepare. 3 months will be up soon. Don't worry. On the day when Ning City is attacked, my Fire Cloud sect will certainly send out all the forces of the sect to help. After a long talk, Jingzhua returned to Yunhua and left. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was walking in silence in Sinister Sparrow sect. It took him a long time to calm down the trace of heaven-defying intent. He had comprehended this trace of defying intent from the rain in the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, but it belonged to Kei Shensi and not Ning Fan. Was this defying intent enough to form the core? After all, if he didn't sever his emotions, he would have to have the defying intent to slay the heavens, the heavenly Tao and the Tao heart. To escape, to resist or to submit, he had to make a decision. As for the destruction of Extreme Yin Gate, it would be better to tell the 2 women first, he returned to the dual cultivation palace and entered the secret chamber. He shook the cauldron ring and summoned Bingling and Yuling. This time, the timing was better. The two women didn't hug each other and seemed to be just having a casual chat, but their faces were blushing. As soon as they saw Ning Fan leaving the cauldron ring, they rose to their feet with bright eyes and saluted. Slave greets master. Slave, this was the first time the two arrogant women considered themselves as slaves and spoke in such a humble manner in front of Ning Fan. Ever since Ning Fan saw through their flirtatious acts, they had become more affectionate towards Ning Fan. They were no longer unwilling to become his cauldrons. So what if they could stay by Ning Fan's side as a slave and a cauldron for the rest of their lives? This place had the safety and warmth of a home. Come out for a breath of fresh air. Don't go back this time. Ning Fan said with a smile. We won't return to the cauldron ring. Master, don't you want us anymore? Yuling yelled out with a nervous face. Bingling also pursed her lips slightly, feeling extremely unsettled. Ning Fan was slightly startled when he saw this scene. He did have some plans for calling the two women over. Both of them were early gold core experts. To Ning Fan, unless he plucked them clean, dual cultivation alone wouldn't have much effect on increasing the success rate of core formation. But plucking the cultivation base of the two women, it was hard for him to harden his heart after going through all kinds of interactions. Gold core cauldrons. Ning Fan could have as many as he wanted on his way to the endless sea. Moreover, given the strength of his black incarnation and the strangeness of yin-yang transformation, it wasn't impossible for him to capture a nascent soul cauldron. Or, he could spend a huge sum of money to purchase a nascent soul cauldron from the godly void pavilion of other countries to pluck them. Those women were born orphans and were cultivated to be cauldrons for sale. Although plucking wasn't an honorable thing, it wasn't to the extent of being shameful. Ning Fan might not reject it if he could spend a night with the sisters. But if he plucked the two women and let them suffer a great loss of cultivation base to vein opening like the 15 real cauldrons in the cauldron ring, Ning Fan would never do such a thing to the two women. What if I let you go? Ning Fan stopped smiling and sighed slightly. Master, are you really going to let us go? Yuling lowered her head, feeling a little disappointed. Master, don't forget that old ancestor Purple Een of Extreme Een Gate is still looking for us, so, it's better for us to stay here for the time being. Bingling gritted her teeth and said. There's one thing I won't hide from you. 3 months later, I will have a battle with Purple Een. If you leave now, Purple Een won't do anything to you, but 3 months later, Extreme Een Gate will be destroyed. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent, but it wasn't because of the two women. However, the two women's hearts were still trembling, not only because of the killing intent, but also because of Ning Fan's words. That day when they were captured by Ning Fan as a cauldron, the two women's hearts had already turned to ashes. They didn't expect to be able to escape. Now that they had a chance to escape, it was a great thing, but the two women were hesitant and even reluctant. Ever since they entered the Extreme Een Gate, they had been nurtured into gold core realm human cauldrons for hundreds of years. They had never been truly happy before. However, after being captured by Ning Fan, the scenes that happened in the demon sinister forest made them taste the joy of living for the first time. That joy might just be catching fish and eating with Ning Fan, or it might just be Ning Fan's anger when Bingling was severely injured. The two women sighed. Was there still a man in this world who would kill them out of anger just because they were injured? There wouldn't be. After losing the two women, Purple Een was angry because he had lost his cauldron. Compared to others, Ning Fan had a trace of warmth in his heart. Master, do you really want to annihilate Extreme Een Gate? Us two sisters don't want to leave. Bingling and Yuling exchanged a glance, lowered their heads and said in a low voice. Don't want to leave. Don't tell me you two want to be plucked by me. Ning Fan was startled for a moment, then revealed a teasing smile. If it's beneficial to Master, Master can pluck us, anyway, this cultivation base is just a burden to us two sisters." The two women's sincere expression contained a trace of young girl's feelings. This made Ning Fan stop teasing them and let out a slight sigh. The two women didn't know that the better they treated Ning Fan, the harder it was for Ning Fan to be heartless and do something immoral. "Forget it. If you two have nowhere to go, just stay by my side for the time being. Do you have any relatives or friends in Extreme Een Gate? 3 months later, I will make Extreme Een Gate barren." Ning Fan turned his head away. "In Extreme Een Gate, apart from the 15 sisters that you have plucked, there are no other acquaintances. Old ancestor Purple Een doesn't allow us to contact anyone." Yu Ling curled her lips. She still remembered that Ning Fan plucked her 15 harmonious spirit subordinates. But after curling their lips, the two women felt a trace of warmth in their hearts. Ning Fan wanted to annihilate Extreme Een Gate, but he came to ask about their relatives. Perhaps, he didn't want to accidentally kill their relatives and friends when he annihilated Extreme Een Gate. This trace of concern made the two women happy. Ning Fan rubbed his head, thinking about how to deal with the two women. Originally, he wanted to let them go, but now that they refused to leave, he decided to temporarily put them back into the cauldron ring. "You two, return to the cauldron ring first. No, we want to help you deal with old ancestor Purple Een." Bing Ling's eyes were filled with a trace of worry. She knew very well how powerful old ancestor Purple Een was. "All right. I will let you two out after I return to Ning Fan." After a brief conversation with the two women, Ning Fan took them back and left the secret chamber of Dual Cultivation Palace. This time, he kept the two women and the 15 cauldrons in the same space, so that these women could have a good meeting with each other. But as soon as he walked out of the secret chamber, his sleeve was immediately grabbed by Lan Mei, who had been waiting respectfully outside the secret chamber. "Women's body fragrance, you are hiding women in the secret chamber?" Lan Mei secretly released her spirit sense to look around the empty secret chamber, but found nothing. "I have a lot of women. Do you want to be one of them, little Lan?" Ning Fan teased. Who allowed you to call me little Lan? Don't call me that. I am here to tell you that father has something to discuss with you. He only said that it will be a matter of life and death in 3 months. A glimmer of hope rose in Lan Mei's heart. She guessed that the meeting between her father and Ning Fan would most likely be about marriage. A matter of life and death. The moment she thought of these words, her heart was filled with sweetness, anticipation and nervousness. Marriage, she had to become Ning Fan's wife as soon as possible. She couldn't let Ning Fan fool around anymore. And, if there was a chance, she would let Ning Fan cultivate other evil arts. However, Ning Fan's eyes froze when he heard that Sinister Sparrow was looking for him. 3 months, what did Sinister Sparrow know? Sure enough, Sinister Sparrow Sect also had a spy in Extreme Een Gate. Sinister Sparrow Sect might be talking and laughing on the surface, but he was actually very shrewd. Since Sinister Sparrow Sect and Fire Cloud Sect had spies in Extreme Een Gate, then Extreme Een Gate might also have spies in Sinister Sparrow Sect, observing his every move. Almost immediately, Ning Fan understood 2 things. Firstly, Sinister Sparrow must be talking about something related to Extreme Een Gate. Secondly, it was best not to let the 2 girls show up in Sinister Sparrow Sect, in case Extreme Een Gate found out about it and caused some unforeseen events. Oh yes, Ji He and Cece were also called by father. Lan Mei was puzzled. Why would father ask Ji He and Cece to be present when discussing about her and Ning Fan's marriage? Could it be that father wanted Ning Fan to drive the 2 girls away, so that she could monopolize Ning Fan? This, although she minded the existence of the 2 girls, with her understanding of Ning Fan, it was impossible for Ning Fan to drive his wife away. Perhaps, Ning Fan would give up on marrying her because of Ji He. What should she do? What should she do? Would father quarrel with Ning Fan or even fight with him? Lan Mei's worry seemed to have deviated a little. Ji He and Cece are both here. Let's go and see my father-in-law, and see what he wants to tell me. Ning Fan smiled faintly and left Dual Cultivation Palace, heading towards Long Inclination Palace. He vaguely guessed that Sinister Sparrow was hesitating whether he should help Ning Cheng resist Extreme Een Gate after knowing the conspiracy of Extreme Een Gate. Chapter 127. Sinister Sparrow stood in the hall with his hands clasped behind his back. His Highness was making a paper crane and see Wuxia. Jiha held the purple clay teacup in her small hands, tasting the top-grade spirit tea. She acted like she was at home, without any sense of nervousness. On the contrary, Si Wuxia's gaze was cold. Within that coldness, there was less of her usual innocence, and more of a trace of confusion. Ning Fan, is he the enemy or the master? Who am I? Her memory was awakening, but no one knew about it. At this crucial moment, Ning Fan and Lan Mei entered the Long Inclination Hall. Ning Fan greets Sect Master. He, revered Ning, you don't have to be so polite. Sinister Sparrow looked at Ning Fan deeply, but he didn't address him as Fan Air. As for Ning Fan, his smile vanished and his expression turned serious. Calling him revered Ning was enough. Let's discuss business. Dad, why are you being so polite to Ning Fan? Lan Mei pouted, but was interrupted by Sinister Sparrow with a bitter smile and a wave of his hand. Mei, sit at the side for a while. I have something to ask revered Ning. Revered Ning, follow me to the secret chamber. In the secret chamber of Long Inclination Palace, Sinister Sparrow stared at Ning Fan for a long time with a serious look. Sect Master has something to say, but please say it out loud. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If I can answer them, Ning Fan will answer truthfully. Ning Fan cupped his fists. He could tell that Gui Xiaozi had something to say in his heart. All right. In that case, I have something to ask you. Do you have any ulterior motive for coming to Sinister Sparrow sect? Yes, the purpose is to obtain the Dark Yin Qi and fulfill Master's request. Ning Fan's answer made Sinister Sparrow nod with a satisfied smile and put away his serious expression. Very good. You're very honest. You didn't lie to me. The profound Yin Qi is in Dark Sparrow's grave. If you're fated, you can go and get it. As for what you want it for, I won't ask. The second question, are you Black Devil Ning? Yes. Ning Fan also has a question. May I ask Sect Master, did you buy my information from the Divine Fortune Teller of Wu Country? Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. Sure enough, you're Black Devil Ning. Don't worry. You're the disciple of Old Han. I won't do anything to you and it's impossible for me to pay such a huge price to plot against you. The reason why I know your identity is because. Is it because of the spy in Extreme Een Gate? Not bad. That's right, it's true. When he asked the second question, Sinister Sparrow seemed to have gotten a satisfactory answer. His eyes were slightly shocked. Ning Fan was indeed the famous Fourth Revolution Dan Master in Yu Country. Withdrawing his astonished expression, Gui Xiaozi sighed and asked. So, my third question should have an answer. The destruction of Heaven Separation Sect was done by you and Old Man Han, right? You two sure have guts. That's right, how did Sect Master know about this? Silly boy, isn't the sovereign of Heaven Separation Sect, Si Wuxia, sitting outside? I once fought with Si Wuxia and was defeated. I can't forget her aura. Si Wuxia has also become your woman. Her condition seems a little strange. It's a long story, then let's not talk about it. I don't want to ask more about your secret. Evil cultivators should have their own secrets. Transforming into Black Devil Ning. Annihilating Heaven Separation Sect. Capturing Si Wuxia. Beheading Wang Yao. Ning Fan, I don't care where you come from or what your purpose is in Sinister Sparrow Sect. I only have one request, don't let Mei Air down. Sinister Sparrow's eyes turned unprecedentedly serious. He could tolerate Ning Fan hiding anything, but if Ning Fan let Lan Mei down, he would be angry as her father. As for Ning Fan, he was secretly surprised after listening to Sinister Sparrow's detailed account of his achievements. Annihilating Heaven Separation Sect. No one in Yu Country or Rain Immortal World knew about it, but Sinister Sparrow knew about it. As for killing Wang Yao, Ning Fan had sealed the mouths of Hu Clan's cultivators, but Sinister Sparrow still knew about it. If he didn't search the Hu Clan's cultivators' memories, then Sinister Sparrow was also present that night. Sinister Sparrow knew all of this, but Ning Fan wasn't too worried. Firstly, Sinister Sparrow was Old Monster's best friend, Lan Mei's father and Ning Fan's father-in-law. Secondly, given Ning Fan's strength, even if these things were to be leaked, it wouldn't put his life in danger. In response to Sinister Sparrow's half-warning and half-reminder, Ning Fan solemnly replied, "I won't let little Lan down, but now, I can't marry her. I'm preparing to return to Ning City. I think Sect Master already knows the reason. 3 months later, there will be a battle in Ning City. I will annihilate Extreme Yin Gate. After this battle, I will leave Yu Country. Perhaps, I won't be able to return for a very, very long time. Extreme Yin Gate, humph. If you don't let Mei down, I will help you in this battle. No matter what, you are revered Ning of my Sinister Sparrow sect. If Extreme Yin Gate dares to touch you, they must first get my permission." As soon as these words came out, killing intent flashed in Sinister Sparrow's eyes. His chi swept across the room like a gale, surging in the secret room. "I will help you publicly because you are a disciple of my Sinister Sparrow sect. Privately, you are the disciple of my old friend, my son-in-law. It's just that, what are your chances of winning this battle? After the battle, regardless of victory or defeat, I will protect you. You don't have to leave Yu Country. Sect Master has misunderstood. If I have Sect Master's help, I won't lose this battle, and I'm not being forced to leave Yu Country by Extreme Yin Gate. My master and I have an irreconcilable enemy who is very strong. 100 years later, I will definitely have a battle with this person. If I stay in Yu Country, my cultivation base will rise too slowly, my time is too little." Ning Fan's heart warmed. Sinister Sparrow was already very kind to him. He was willing to fight against Extreme Yin Gate for him. Even if he couldn't defeat Purple Yin Gate, he was still willing to protect him. If there was a choice, Ning Fan would rather not seek immortality. He would rather stay in Yu Country, Sinister Sparrow Sect or 7 Apricot City and live a plain life as an ordinary devil cultivator, but life didn't give him a choice and he couldn't stop his footsteps. Gue Xiaozi heaved a long sigh after hearing Ning Fan's difficulties. Gue Xiaozi had some understanding of the old monster. When he first met the old monster, he knew that the old monster had a tyrannical enemy and had a great background. But he still accepted the old monster without hesitation and barely suppressed the absolute Yin poison. If that enemy would come again after 100 years, then it would be unwise for Ning Fan to stay in Yu Country. Given Ning Fan's aptitude, cultivating in a low-grade cultivation country like Yu Country was purely a waste of time. He should go to a mid-grade cultivation country or even a high-grade cultivation country to gain more experience. "Forget it, little Fan, if you leave Yu Country, my sect will take care of Ning City and 7 Apricot City. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's talk about the battle 3 months later. You mustn't underestimate your enemy. I heard that Extreme Yin Gate has invited Heavenly Dao Sect of Wu Country for help. The Sect Master of Heavenly Dao Sect is a half-step nascent soul cultivator. I also heard that there is a corpse of a nascent soul old monster in the sect, seemingly turned into a refined corpse. Extreme Yin Gate has the help of Heavenly Dao Sect, but my Ning City also has the help of Sinister Sparrow Sect and Fire Cloud Sect. I've met old ancestor Jing Zhuo of Fire Cloud Sect before, like this." Ning Fan simplified the secret discussion he had with Jing Zhuo to Sinister Sparrow Sect. After hearing it, Sinister Sparrow Sect couldn't help but feel shocked. Unbeknownst to him, Ning Fan had already contacted Fire Cloud sect to deal with Extreme Een Gate together. He heard that old ancestor Fire Cloud was hot-tempered and unreasonable, but he was persuaded by Ning Fan to help him. Like this, when the time comes, Sect Master will bring the Eagle Guards to this place. The secret discussion between Ning Fan and Sinister Sparrow gradually became inaudible. As for Sinister Sparrow sect, he gradually revealed a surprised look towards Ning Fan's plan. Ning Fan had never thought of reconciling with Extreme Een Gate and Heavenly Dao sect. He wanted all the invading cultivators to never return. The white-robed Ning Fan wore a smile on his face, but his smile seemed to contain a high degree of confidence in determining the destruction of Extreme Een Gate. Once this brat has the intention to kill, his means are truly ruthless. Sinister Sparrow sect took a deep breath. After the secret discussion, Ning Fan and Sinister Sparrow sect left the secret chamber together. To Lan Mei's disappointment, the two of them didn't mention anything about marriage even after the discussion. There was another unexpected matter. Ning Fan wanted to leave Sinister Sparrow sect, and he asked for a leave of 100 years. In the history of Sinister Sparrow sect, only venerated Weeping Ling Giku had requested for such a long leave. And now, Ning Fan was also going to leave. Can you not leave? Lan Mei's eyes were filled with hidden bitterness. I will be back. Ning Fan only gave her this answer. He had entrusted the dual cultivation palace to Bai Lu, but she didn't seem to be happy about it. She only agreed with dissatisfaction. Humph. As an elder of the dual cultivation palace, how could you leave for such a long time? I will take good care of the dual cultivation palace while you are away from the sect. He left a jade slip for Xueqin, which contained the experience of a third revolution pill master breaking through to the fourth revolution. This item was like a priceless treasure to Xueqin. If Xueqin broke through to the fourth revolution pill master, Sinister Sparrow sect would have an inexhaustible supply of high-grade pills. He left Lan Mei a cultivation method, Ice Stone's secret art. It was a void-grade cultivation method created by an ancient female cultivator, and some pills. Although Lan Mei didn't lack pills, she still left them on the table. After a moment of contemplation, he decided to leave some dual cultivation methods to Bai Lu and the dual cultivation palace. He only left some pills for Bai Lu, but she didn't accept them, so he left them on the table and left. After settling the matters in Sinister Sparrow sect, Ning Fan brought Nan Wei, Ji He and Si Wuxia back to Ning City. Sinister Sparrow sect was a good place that left him with many beautiful memories, but he couldn't stay here any longer. Ning Fan rode a high-grade 3 marks immortal cloud and left with a trace of melancholy. But as soon as he left Sinister Sparrow sect, Nan Wei, the son of Nan Gong, immediately reminded him with lingering fear. Young master, you must be careful on the way ahead. There are many powerful bandits in this place. If it wasn't for young master planting a divine ability in your storage pouch, Nan Wei would have died in the hands of those bandits. Bandits? Within 300 li of Sinister Sparrow sect, there are bandits running amok. In Yu country, this was a helpless matter. The spiritual qi outside of Sinister Sparrow sect was very dense and the mountains and rivers were hidden, making it a suitable place for cultivation, robbing, killing, hiding and escaping. The bandits gathered here out of helplessness. However, these bandits are getting bolder and bolder recently. How dare they attack the disciples of Sinister Sparrow sect and my people? Cold light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. His spirit sense spread out, covering an area of 500 li. Within this area, he could easily see where the bandits were and who wanted to ambush him. There are really people who don't know the meaning of death. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. 100 li away, in a secluded valley, he found many bandits secretly approaching him. And there seemed to be many small tails following behind him. Forget it, before I leave Sinister Sparrow sect, I'll do a good deed and clean up the bandits for Sinister Sparrow sect. A few bandits set up a spirit falling formation on the peak of a mountain to ambush Ning Fan's and the others. They found out that the fat sheep who passed by this place last time had come again. Although Nan Wei had killed Shen Shangzi with the sword sense in his storage pouch and shocked the bandits, he was also regarded as a fat sheep by the bandits. The bandits were very afraid of Nan Wei's strange means of killing people for no reason. However, if they set up a formation or trap beforehand, they believed that they could still capture this fat sheep. On this trip, Nan Wei was accompanied by a skinny young man and two delicate beauties. The youth had been smiling all the time. He didn't seem to have any cultivation base, so there was nothing to worry about, but the two beauties seemed to have high cultivation base. No, it wasn't just high cultivation base, the two beauties' appearance could be considered as outstanding beauties. If they could capture these two beauties and sell them as human cauldrons, it would be a great fortune for them to be his concubines. This time, I can't let that fat sheep get away. Each of the bandits had the same thought. They didn't know that the god of death was approaching. The few bandit cultivators who were waiting to ambush Nan Wei and hiding their killing intent beside the falling spell formation suddenly looked puzzled. When the immortal cloud of Nan Wei and the others passed by the mountain peak, although it was shaken by the falling formation, it didn't fall down. After a flash of light, the immortal cloud had already traveled 100 meters away. It was a 3 marks immortal cloud. Even the spirit falling formation couldn't work. The few bandits were secretly astonished. They were astonished that Nan Wei was so generous. He was indeed a fat sheep to be able to get his hands on a 3-marked immortal cloud. Ignoring the formation, they rose to the sky and chased after the immortal cloud. But just as they flew up, the white-robed youth who was smiling in front of Nan Wei suddenly stopped smiling and his eyes were filled with cold light. Nan Wei, continue to move forward on the cloud. Slow down. I want to see how many bandits dare to follow me and plot against me. Yes. Nan Wei received the order and immediately took over the immortal cloud. Nan Wei's speed was neither fast nor slow. The bandits could keep up, but they couldn't catch up. The bandits who were lying in ambush cast all kinds of divine abilities, but none of them could shake off the immortal cloud. There was even a gold core old monster who secretly released a high-grade magical treasure to attack the immortal cloud, but when the magical treasure got close to the immortal cloud, it vanished into thin air. Humph. I didn't expect to go for wool and come home shorn. Chase after him. No matter what, this old man will catch up to this fat sheep, kill him and take back the magical treasure. One by one, the bandits joined the pursuit team, dragging a long distance in the night sky. The scene of dozens of traveling lights chasing after an immortal cloud had shocked many cultivators along the way. When the immortal cloud was 100 miles away from Ning City, it suddenly stopped. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He waved his palm and the huge white bone sword was held horizontally in his hand. Then, he displayed the 6 meters body technique. Humans die for wealth and birds die for food, all of you can die now. At this moment, a trace of rain divine intent flickered in the young man's eyes. Almost at the same time, the dozens of cultivators who were chasing after him were infected and assimilated by the strange divine intent. Their magical force became sluggish and melted like the continuous autumn rain. At this moment, the white-robed young man patted his storage pouch. 5 different colored peak high-grade flying swords flew out. In just an instant, a gold core cultivator and 4 peak harmonious spirit cultivators died under the flying swords. The remaining ones were only slightly more than 30 harmonious spirit cultivators, and the strongest one was only a late harmonious spirit cultivator. Mere bandits, how dare you intercept me? Courting death. With the young man's half-step gold core magical force, he could already exert 1/10 of the power of the 5 elements flying swords. 5 peak high-grade flying swords. Even a late gold core cultivator wouldn't be able to withstand it, let alone an ordinary harmonious spirit cultivator. The divine intent of rain locked the magical power of the bandits, making it so that no harmonious spirit bandits could escape in an instant. While the bandits were still in shock, the 5 sword lights of the 5 elements flying swords took away the lives of 5 more bandits. They couldn't escape or resist the terrifying flying swords. Each and every one of them was horrified and regretful. They regretted provoking a fat sheep and provoking a fiend. Gradually, some of them vaguely recognized the young man's identity from his facial features and became even more terrified. This man isn't someone else. He's the cultivator who defeated revered by of sinister sparrow sect, revered Ning. After hearing the name, revered Ning, each of the bandits finally realized what kind of ruthless person they were chasing tonight. They wanted to escape, but they couldn't. Their hearts were filled with bitterness. All they could do was to take out their magical treasures, trying to resist the 5 dazzling 5-colored flying swords. However, the best magical treasure of these harmonious spirit cultivators was only a middle-grade magical treasure. As soon as it collided with the 5 elements flying swords, it immediately shattered into pieces. Under the young man's control, the flying swords would take away the lives of 5 bandits in every breath. Finally, some of the bandits broke free from the divine intent of rain and began to flee. However, the sword light of the 5 elements flying swords was too fast. It was almost comparable to the speed of a nascent soul cultivator. Who could escape from the sword light? In just a short span of 10 breaths, dozens of bandits died with hatred in their hearts. The young man kept the 5 elements flying swords. His eyes were as calm as an ancient well. Return to Ning City. Killing dozens of harmonious spirit experts seemed to be an insignificant matter to him. Tonight was a nightmare for the bandits in the area. Chapter 128. When Ning Fan first built the city, it was just rows of wooden houses. But now, there were jade buildings and houses. Cultivators came to Ning Fan in an endless stream within 100 miles radius. Ning Fan descended from the immortal cloud to witness the great changes in Ning City. He sighed in amazement. The 100-mile city wall was made of jade and gold. It was 19 zhang high, enough to defend against a full blow from a harmonious spirit cultivator. Above the city wall, there was a forbidden space formation to prevent enemy cultivators from attacking Ning City from above. Outside Ning City, groups of evil cultivators patrolled. Their chi wasn't weak, all of them were at least 7th level vein opening. Some wore black armor embroidered with 7 apricot flowers, some wore silver armor embroidered with 7 swords, and some wore ice armor embroidered with 7 snow. These 3 types of evil cultivators belonged to the apricot guards, sword guards, and ice guards of the 3 black demon armies. Apart from the 3 black demon armies, there was another type of evil cultivator patrolling the city. This type of evil cultivator wore red armor embroidered with a big Ning character. These evil cultivators looked vaguely familiar. Most of them were the Southern House battle guards that Ning Fan had subdued before. The rest were evil cultivators that came to seek shelter. Under the great reputation of Black Devil Ning, evil cultivators came to Ning City in an endless stream. After the expansion of the Southern House battle guards, there were 600 of them. Their strength wasn't any weaker than the 3 black demon armies. The 4 armies of Ning City had a great reputation in Yu country. For more than half a year, Nangong had led the 3 black demon armies to besiege bandits from all directions. Not only did it hone their combat skills, but it also greatly stabilized Ning City. This was also the reason why Ning Fan only attracted dozens of bandits after a night of slow travel. Heaven's Secret, Nangong and Mad Guest Yuchi. These 2 were extremely famous in Yu country. The latter had advanced by leaps and bounds to late harmonious spirit realm through dual cultivation with the pig. His little pig had also reached intermediate harmonious spirit realm. 1 man and 1 demon could even fight a half-step gold core cultivator if they worked together. As for Nangong, his lightning veins were restored with the help of the pills Ning Fan gave him. He became a dual spirit cultivator that cultivated both ice and lightning. His strength was restored to intermediate gold core realm. He could even fight a late gold core old monster to a draw. Even the old monsters of the first-rate sex were fearful of him. The only one whose reputation disappeared was the commander of the sword guards, Situ. After receiving the broken sword from Ning Fan, he left Ning City. He seemed to be traveling around, but his whereabouts were unknown. Brother Fan, look, Ning City has changed so much because of your pills. Ji He's pure smile was tinged with pride. She was proud of her brother Fan's extraordinary abilities. Pills are one of the reasons. Nangong's wisdom and strategy are the most important. He has also recovered his cultivation base. All that's left is Situ. However, I have a feeling that Situ's return won't be far away. Let's go home. Ning City was Ning Fan's home in Yu Country. The rows of patrolling evil cultivators immediately revealed a vigilant look when they saw Ning Fan's group coming, but when they saw Nan Wei and Ji He, they all let down their guard. The eyes of all the evil cultivators fell upon Ning Fan and they sucked in a breath of cold air. Their young master had returned. The three divine armies only knew of Black Devil Ning of Ning City, but he had never appeared before. But their young Lord Ning Fan's was real, and his current reputation was even more resounding than the old monster. Revered Ning of Sinister Sparrow Sect. The man who defeated an intermediate gold core cultivator at his young age. Welcome back to Ning City, young master. Each of the evil cultivators clasped their fists and greeted with a loud and clear voice. These greetings made the cultivators who stayed in Ning City reveal a look of surprise. What? Revered Ning is back. That's great. I didn't expect to see Revered Ning instead of Master Black Devil. As soon as they returned to the city, Ning Fan immediately summoned Nangong and told him about the decisive battle 3 months later. Nangong was shocked, but there was also a trace of excitement in his shock. Being able to fight against Extreme Yin Gate and Heavenly Dao Sect, and according to Young Master's plan, the success rate would be very high. He didn't inform the three divine armies about this for the time being, in order to avoid unnecessary gossip. After the secret discussion with Nangong, Ning Fan immediately wrapped himself in a black cloak to cover his face and used the false thought art to conceal his cultivation base. With his half-step nascent soul spirit sense and the false thought art, he immediately disguised himself as an old half-step nascent soul old monster. This scene greatly aroused Ji He's interest while Si Wuxia's beautiful eyes flashed with confusion. Why does he want to annihilate my sect? She seemed to have remembered something about Heaven Separation Sect, but it wasn't complete. Then, a sensational news spread across Ning City. Black Devil Ning, who had been in seclusion for a long time after the 100 sects of Ning City came out. He was wearing a black cloak and his face couldn't be seen clearly. Despite walking in Ning City, he exuded a horrifying half-step nascent soul aura that wasn't any weaker than the old ancestor-level figures of Yu Country. Some people secretly released their spirit sense to sense the details under Black Devil Ning's cloak, but when they met Black Devil Ning's eyes, their hearts and souls trembled like a rainstorm. This kind of means was simply unheard of in Yu Country. Just a glance from him could freeze a cultivator's magical power. This Black Devil Ning was indeed as mysterious and powerful as the rumor said. All those who had their eyes on Ning City secretly withdrew their thoughts. After that, Black Devil Ning summoned the commanders of the 4 armies of Ning City. Nangong, Yuqi, Nanyangzi and Lu Nanzi. With the help of pills, Lu Nanzi was already a half-step gold core cultivator and wasn't far from core formation realm. As for Nanyangzi, he had successfully broken through to intermediate gold core realm and became a famous figure in Yu Country. Their eyes were burning with passion as they stared at Black Devil Ning. They knew that all of this was thanks to the city lord in front of them. Previously, when they were captured, they were almost in despair. But after discovering that Black Devil Ning was a 4th revolution pill master, they found hope amidst their despair. They looked forward to following Black Devil Ning, knowing that they would have a bright future. Then, Black Devil Ning indeed didn't disappoint them. A large amount of pills had greatly improved their cultivation base. They were now convinced that becoming slaves of Black Devil Ning wasn't a sin to them, but an opportunity. It was just that they hadn't seen the city lord for a long time. Now that Black Devil Ning had come out of seclusion, they felt like ants facing the heavens. A half-step nascent soul cultivation base wasn't enough to give them such a feeling. It was as if Black Devil Ning wasn't a human, but a heaven-defying reign that could overturn the heavens and earth. Both of them retracted their gaze in shock, lowered their heads and cupped their fists respectfully. "Greetings, City Lord." N. Black Devil Ning responded with a hoarse voice. "Recently, your country isn't peaceful. The 4 armies of Ning City should intensify their cultivation. All affairs will be temporarily suspended. Later on, I will pass down a new formation." Black Devil Ning's tone was solemn. None of the experts present dared to breathe loudly. Only little Ji he pursed her lips and giggled. "Brother Fan is so methodical. So interesting, Cece, don't you think so?" Ji he asked in a low voice. "I don't know." Si Wuxia's mind was in a mess. More and more memories emerged in her mind, making it hard for her to make a decision. The conversation in the main hall was a little boring to Ji he. Black Devil Ning only made some adjustments to the formation and cultivation of the 4 armies of Ning City. At the same time, he gave some pointers to the cultivation method of the 4 armies. Even Nangong had gained great enlightenment under Black Devil Ning's guidance. After the discussion, Lu Nanzi suddenly revealed a look of hesitation. Eventually, he gritted his teeth and decided to tell Black Devil Ning about this matter to show his loyalty. "This subordinate has something to report to the city lord. Speak." It has been half a year since the fire vein of Ning City was unblocked. Currently, there are fire maple fruits growing one after another. They can be sold at a high price, but it requires a special secret technique to accelerate the growth of the fruits. Subordinate is willing to plant these fruits for city lord. Lu Nanzi said respectfully. "Fire maple fruit? I've heard of this fruit before. It seems to be expensive, but this doesn't seem to be the right time to plant the fire maple fruit, but let's accelerate the growth of the fruits in the future." Nangong, who was at the side, had some doubts. He had heard of the famous fire maple fruit before. Cultivators could consume it to improve their body refining technique, but the effect wasn't obvious. Although the price wasn't cheap, Ning City wasn't short of money. Nangong had some concerns because he had heard from Ning Fan that there would be a great war in less than 3 months. It could be 2 months or even longer than 3 months. It all depended on the time when the sect master of Heavenly Dao sect would come out of seclusion, but Ning City would be facing a great war soon. It was more important to prepare for the war. Planting the fire maple fruit at this moment seemed to be neglecting the essentials. Nangong's suggestion was extremely pertinent. Upon hearing this, Lu Nanzi's face revealed a look of disappointment. Lu family had once relied on the fire maple fruit to become rich. He felt somewhat regretful that he couldn't accelerate the growth of the fire maple fruit. However, Nangong's authority in Ning City was only lower than Black Devil Ning and Ning Fan. So, he didn't dare to refute. However, his words didn't arouse Nangong's interest, but Black Devil Ning who was at the side revealed a look of surprise. "Fire maple fruit? Can you really accelerate the growth of this fruit?" City Lord needs this fruit. If you need it, this season is the best time to accelerate the growth of the fire maple fruit. In 3 days, I will lead the Nanlu guards to cast a secret technique to accelerate the growth of a large number of fire maple fruits. Alright, I'll leave this matter to you. I need the fire maple fruit, the more the better. Black Devil Ning, no, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He had never thought that Ning City would have an unexpected harvest of the fire maple fruit. In the ancient pill scroll that Xue Qin gave him, there was a pill called Yellow Turban Pill. Third Revolution Pill, Yellow Turban Pill. This pill was a secret pill used by the yellow turban warriors of the ancient heavenly court for body refinement. Even in ancient times, not many people knew about it. The concoction of this pill required several kinds of ancient pill concoction techniques. Even if they had the fire maple fruit, shui qing, and the others wouldn't be able to concoct it. However, Ning Fan knew those pill concoction techniques. Today, he even obtained the fire maple fruit by chance. Outside of Ning City was the place where the fire maple fruit grew. This kind of coincidence wasn't God's will, but fate. Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. Cultivators had fate that was ethereal and invisible. Rumor had it that there were fiend gods in ancient times who could change fate. If one's fate was good, one would encounter treasures everywhere. If one's fate was bad, one would encounter misfortune everywhere. The ones with the best fate were naturally the giants in ancient times. The one with the worst fate was the most famous one in ancient times. His name was Shingongbao. What was worth mentioning was the yellow turban pill. The effect of this pill wasn't as good as the jade royal pill, but if he had a large number of fire maple fruits, he could concoct a large number of yellow turban pills to enhance his body refinement realm. His body refinement realm was at the peak of the 6th realm of silver light. He only needed to break through 3 more realms to reach the silver bone realm. The silver light converged into his bones, turning his bones into silver. His fists could shake a nascent soul. If he could consume a large number of yellow turban pills within these 3 months, he would be able to defeat his enemies with the strength of his body even if he was just a white-clothed incarnation. Ning Fan's fate was considered good so far, although there were many people who had better fate than him. Chapter 129. Behind him, Bing Ling and Yu Ling were arranging the bedding and washing the food, sneaking glances at Ning Fan from time to time. In 7 days, Lu Nanzi had produced a large number of fire maple fruits. These fruits were enough to concoct 300 yellow turban pills. Could yellow turban pill and jade royal pill be eaten together? Ning Fan pondered for a long time before shaking his head. The pain of the immortal execution sword chi suppressed the pain of the jade royal pill because there were 2 kinds of pain. The former was the pain of the surface of the body while the latter was the pain of the internal organs, meridians, and bones. Different kinds of pain could be suppressed. The yellow turban pill was also a pain that tempered the muscles and bones. He was afraid that it wouldn't suppress the pain of the jade royal pill, instead, it would add to the pain. In order to consume the 4th jade royal pill, he had to endure the same pain from the outside world. For example, the heavenly tribulation of a late nascent soul cultivator. Recollecting his thoughts, he took out the Dan fragmentation cauldron and his eyes flickered. Begin, concoct the pill. A month passed quickly. Outside of Ning City, a large number of flying demonic beasts, eagles, and martens arrived. Every devil cultivator in the 4 guards of Ning City was equipped with a standard magical treasure. A peak low-grade weapon and a peak low-grade spirit shooting crossbow. This crossbow was named Spirit Shooting Crossbow. As the name suggested, even a harmonious spirit old monster's defense could be pierced and killed if they were careless. The spiritual arrows shot by this crossbow were expensive. The cost of 1 arrow was around 10 immortal jades and it couldn't be recycled. But Nangong still spent a huge amount of money to equip each guard with 10 arrows. The 4 guards of Ning City had 2,000 devil cultivators. When they shot at the same time, even a gold core old monster would have to retreat. Even the guards of a mid-grade cultivation country couldn't be compared to such a large sum of money. In the 2nd month, a magnificent 5-color tribulation cloud appeared above the fire cloud sect. However, it immediately disappeared without a trace. In the 3rd month, a man in a black monk robe and full of blood chi returned to Ning City. He was a half-step gold core cultivator, but in his hand were the heads of the 10 great bandits of Yu country. The 10 great bandits of Yu country were not only distributed in the sinister Sparrow Mountain range, but also in East U and North U. Each of them was a gold core old monster. Situ had killed 10 gold core old monsters. His eyes flickered with a golden glow as a terrifying sword intent surged within his body. Even an intermediate gold core old monster might not be able to withstand this sword chi. This was the path of sword Dao that Situ had comprehended from the broken sword. 3 months passed. The smell of gunpowder pervaded the air in Peace City. Nangong finally dismissed all the guests and ordered the entire city to be under martial law. At the same time, many magnificent ships broke through the Yu Kingdom's seal boundary. The World Lock was a formation set up between different cultivation countries. It was an ancient formation that had existed since the formation of the Rain Immortal World. The level of the array was determined according to the density of the spiritual chi in the cultivation country. The realm-locking array of the low-grade cultivation country, Yu country, was at the peak of the Dan grade, which was only half a step away from the nascent grade. The realm-locking formation was guarded by the elders of the righteous and demonic sects. Every 1,000 miles, there was an entrance for people to enter the formation. Cultivators from other countries who entered the state of Yu would generally only be recorded and would not be specially obstructed. No one questioned whether this identity was real or fake. No one questioned whether the cultivators from other countries were committing crimes in Yu country. However, one needed to pay some immortal jades to enter the country. Of course, no one dared to collect the immortal jades if they didn't pay. In the land of East Yu, an intermediate harmonious spirit elder of Purple Light sect was in seclusion inside 100 zhang tall golden tower. The east of Yu country was bordered by Wu country. It had always been frequented by cultivators. Purple Light sect occupied the entrance of the World Lock and sent their elders and disciples to guard it. For countless years, they had collected countless immortal jades. Today, one harmonious spirit and 10 vein opening experts of Purple Light sect were still leisurely guarding the World Lock. Occasionally, a few cultivators from Wu country would pass through the World Lock formation. They would only collect the money. Sometimes, they didn't even bother to ask for their names. There's still 1 more month to complete this year's mission. 100 sect contribution points and 50 immortal jades. This time, I can buy a good gift for 7th junior sister of Cloudy Mist Palace. Senior brother Zhang, with your talent and appearance, why do you have a soft spot for 7th junior sister? I feel that 4th senior sister of Cloudy Mist Palace is more suitable for you. You don't understand. 7th junior sister's appearance isn't good, but her technique is really fucking. A few disciples of Purple Light sect were chatting idly. From time to time, they would say some dirty words. 10 li away, the harmonious spirit elder in the golden tower scanned the area with his spirit sense. He was slightly displeased when he heard the dirty words of the disciples. How could a righteous disciple speak dirty words like an evil cultivator? Although the harmonious spirit elder understood that righteous disciples were also humans with 7 emotions and 6 desires, it was only normal for them to say dirty words. Be more serious. If those cultivators from Wu country see this, it will be a disgrace to our sect. The harmonious spirit elder decided to instigate them. The divine sense sound transmission resounded in everyone's ears from 10 li away. The disciples immediately became submissive and didn't dare to say anything else. They didn't dare to refute, but someone else did. Suddenly, the sound of a ship breaking through the air was heard from outside the light of the World Lock formation. Amidst the sound of the wind, an eccentric voice sneered and ridiculed. Purple Light sect, a second-rate sect of a low-grade cultivation country, what face do you have? This voice carried the terrifying pressure of a half-step nascent soul cultivator. It resounded in the ears of every disciple of Purple Light sect. Immediately, the sea of consciousness of 10 disciples was shattered and they died. 10 miles away, Elder Zi Guang, who was inside the golden tower, immediately felt a chill down his spine. A streak of light flew out of the golden tower and stood on the top of the tower. He looked at the lockdown grand array in the distance with a terrified expression. One by one, the ships broke through the world-lock Grand Formation of Yu country. The dignified Peak Dan Realm Grand Formation couldn't stop these ships from escaping through the air. There were 6 ships in total. On each ship, there were no less than 1,000 evil cultivators, eyeing them like tigers watching their prey. These evil cultivators were all wearing white clothes and armor. Their cultivation base was at least level 5 vein opening. Among the 6,000 vein opening evil cultivators, there were 44 harmonious spirit cultivators and 9 gold core cultivators. Among the gold core old monsters, the one with the strongest chi was the one who sneered just now. He was the only cultivator who didn't wear white clothes, but a purple robe. On his purple robe, there were patterns of the sun and moon embroidered. Yin and Yang formed a circle. This person was 8 feet tall. His face was pale and bloodless, like a refined corpse. There was a third eye on his forehead. On his back, there was a huge black jade coffin. What was more strange was that among the 8 gold core old monsters, only 4 of them had the chi of a living person. Among the 44 harmonious spirit cultivators, there was no chi of a living person. Moreover, among the 6,000 vein opening disciples, half of them were dead people. The elder of Purple Light sect was frightened by this horrifying lineup. He was stationed at the border of Wu and Yu country. Naturally, he had heard a lot about some big sects in Wu country. The evil cultivators in front of him were very similar to a sect in the legends. Wu country's evil sect, Heavenly Tao sect. What are these evil cultivators doing in Yu country with such a big lineup? Not good, I have to report this to the sect master. The elder of Purple Light sect gritted his teeth and fled with all his might. From the fact that these evil cultivators killed 10 of his disciples, he could tell that these people were vicious. If he was captured by these people, he would certainly not be able to bear the consequences. However, just as he turned around, 7 harmonious spirit evil cultivators flew up from the ship and chased after him. Each of them revealed a fiery expression, looking at the elder of Purple Light sect as if he was a delicious dish. An intermediate harmonious spirit refined corpse, it belongs to whoever can get it first. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the tallest and burly man among the 7 harmonious spirit evil cultivators carried the corpse of the elder of Purple Light sect back to the ship. Thus, the 6 ships of Heavenly Tao sect invaded Yu country. 5 days later, the ship crossed Yu country from east to west. Its destination was Ning City. However, along the way, dozens of cultivation families and small sects in Yu country were annihilated by this group of evil cultivators. Dozens of righteous and evil old monsters peeped at the ship from afar. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. Heavenly Tao sect of Wu country is invading my Yu country. The war between Wu and Yu has been halted for thousands of years. Is it going to start again? The sect master of Purple Light sect's face turned extremely ugly. It doesn't seem like it. I snuck into one of the ships and avoided the detection of the sect master of Heavenly Tao sect, Tian Yitzi. I captured a disciple and searched his soul and memory. Heavenly Tao sect's goal seems to be to deal with Ning City and Black Devil Ning. The old ancestor of body-seizing sect crawled out of the desolate grave and revealed a look of dread towards the group of Heavenly Tao sect. Their target is Ning City. That little guy's home. The old ancestor of Great Void sect, Suchio Xianzi's beautiful eyes turned cold. The invasion of Heavenly Tao sect had aroused the attention of all the sects in Yu country. The ones who were panicking were the cultivation families and small sects in the central region of Yu country. Some of them even moved their sects to avoid being annihilated along the way of Heavenly Tao sect. Most of the sects in Yu country needed a nascent soul pill from Black Devil Ning. But now, Black Devil Ning seemed to be in trouble. These sects were hesitating whether they should offend Heavenly Tao sect for Ning City. The name of the sect master of Heavenly Tao sect was Tian Yitzi. Wherever he went, not even a blade of grass would grow. Just as these sects were hesitating, the second devil sect intervened. 4 ships sailed out of Extreme Een Gate. Their target was Ning City. My Extreme Een Gate and Heavenly Tao sect intend to wage war against Ning City. I hope fellow Taoists will not stop us. After the war is over, each sect will offer 3 nascent soul pills as tribute. The old ancestor of Extreme Een Gate, Purple Een, made such a promise. As long as he captured Ning Fan and imprisoned that 4th revolution pill master, he would be the one to decide how many nascent soul pills he wanted to concoct. Although the huge profit of 3 nascent soul pills wasn't enough to bribe the sects in Yu country, it made those sects waver and began to have the thought of becoming neutral. Extreme Een Gate and Heavenly Tao sect were the 2 sects that wanted to fight Ning City to death. None of the sects thought that Ning City could resist the 2 great sections. None of the sects were willing to stand up for Ning City and fight the 2 great devil sects alone. If it was just for the nascent soul pills, the sects of Yu country might join forces to deal with Purple Een. But now, Old Devil Purple Een had announced that each sect would offer 3 nascent soul pills as tribute. For example, Great Void sect had more than 1/2 step gold core old monster. 3 nascent soul pills was a huge temptation. Let's wait and see. Each of the sects gave the order to wait and see. Suqiu Xianzi frowned slightly. Cultivation, at the end of cultivation, regardless of whether one is righteous or evil, all of them are selfish. Her eyes showed hesitation. Then, she stepped on the air and walked towards Ning City. On the 10th day, 10 ships of Extreme Een Gate and Heavenly Tao sect surrounded the sky of Ning City. Suqiu Xianzi straightened her body and appeared in the sky above Ning City. She looked stern and angry. Purple Een, no matter what kind of enmity you have with Ning City, colluding with the sects of Wu country to cause trouble in Yu country, isn't that a little too much? Her words made the expressions of the other 2 old ancestors of Great Void sect change drastically. They immediately rushed out of the sect. If the other party mistakenly thought that it was the intention of Great Void sect, wouldn't it mean that they were stirring up trouble for Great Void sect for no reason? Although Great Void sect had a strong foundation and might not lose to the 2 great sects, it was impossible for them to win. However, if they really started a war with the 2 great sects, it was hard to tell who would win, but it was certain that their sect would suffer a great loss. They were afraid that they would have to give up the reputation of being the #1 righteous sect in Yu country. Junior sister Suqiu has never been to Ning City and has nothing to do with that black devil Ning. Why is she willing to stand up for Ning City? Troublesome, troublesome, that pointless sense of justice of hers is the worst in the cultivation world. Old ancestor Great Void, Zhong Xianzi and Bei Hongzi were struggling. They hoped that junior sister Suqiu wouldn't do something too extreme, otherwise, for the future of Great Void sect. In Ning City, inside the stone chamber, a silvery silhouette suddenly opened his eyes, revealing astonishment. She could clearly see what was happening outside with her spirit sense. Suqiu Xianzi. Why is she here? I've never thought that this person would come to the muddy water of my Ning City. Pointless sense of justice, but is it really pointless? His eyes suddenly turned cold because of Suqiu's words. Suqiu had a peak gold core cultivation base in the sky above Ning City. She wasn't afraid of the devil cultivators. She knitted her brows and secretly circulated her profound qi. Her beautiful eyes were filled with awe-inspiring power. Then, a delicate rebuke resounded in the silent sky. The righteous path is the righteous path. If there's no justice to uphold, how can you claim to be righteous? All of you retreat quickly. My 2 senior brothers will be here soon. Suqiu's words made Old Devil Purple Yin's eyes slightly fearful. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.